Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, good afternoon. Happy Monday. How's everybody? Did you guys have a good weekend? Good weather? You were productive like Brock was?
Yeah, I built a deck and a gazebo all by myself.
All by yourself. How did you do that?
It was a lot of work.
So much of that is like a two-person job, maybe with like a third person kind of telling you what you're doing.
Yeah, I pulled it off though.
Gosh. And you're not even limping.
No.
That's pretty good. It must be bloodflow7.com/Wendy. No? You want to give him the real story?
I built a deck and a gazebo. That's the story. I mean, what do you want me to give credit to other people?
I didn't. I went to Altoona, Pennsylvania. I met Trisha and Lily and Mary, and we watched their kids beat the crap out of mine.
Let me show you the before and after.
And it was fun.
Before, when it fell down.
Yeah, that was his back patio.
Yeah.
But
that after turned out pretty nice.
I'm telling you what.
I got some side work to clean up, but
that is really, really nice. I'm very, very happy for you. Good for you. It's nice to have a place outside. Weather's going to get nice.
I can start doing like the pet show from there.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, so let's see. I want to get at least 2,000 of you here before I say this. Because I want to talk to you about this product by the Wellness Company that's going to fit in really nicely with my monologue today. All right, so there's more pressure on the UFO files coming out, right? So if you don't believe that your government's been hiding a lot of stuff from you for about 60, 70 years, you probably also don't think that there's already a cure for cancer. Well, I'm going to talk to you about that. And as we get into this, I want to tell you about something at the Wellness Company. This is a great opportunity for you to get this new 45 capsule parasite cleanse. It's got 2 full cycles of the ivermectin and the mebendazole. Ivermectin paralyzes a parasite's nervous system. Mebendazole starves them. These 2 things together, parasites, think about eating sushi. The explosion of people eating sushi, raw fish consumption, sushi bars everywhere, grocery stores, even gas stations have it, but there's a hidden risk, and the risk is parasites. We all have parasites. You just don't want them to absolutely destroy you. And so ivermectin and mebendazole, the Wellness Company, twc.health/Wendy, use my name, and you're going to save $35 and get free shipping. This is only for USA residents. This is 2 full cycles of a 45 capsule parasite cleanse. This price is $250 less than the 90 count. It's perfect for first-time users. You want to cleanse your body? twc.health/Wendy, promo code Wendy, 10% off.
And there's this is the QR code for it. It doesn't have a label.
Yeah, there's nothing underneath it, but if you hover on that, read about it. You're going to want to hear about. You're going to want to pull that up on your phone when you hear the opening monologue today, because I stumbled upon this moments ago, and I'm just going to tell you I'm pissed, so will you.
Oh, that's nice.
So will you be. Well, I mean, I hate everyone, except all of you. We are destroying it on Twitter right now. 55 people.
Wow, 57.
I am so excited that you guys are here. You are the P1ers of X for us. You're here early, ready to get in the front row, get your popcorn. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. But you already knew that.
Okay, I can't lie. My brother helped me. And at his age,
I'm not feeding into your stupid reindeer games.
You don't have to. They're my games. I get to say what I want. Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back, not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you. Good afternoon across the fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Common sense conservatism. That's what we do here. We don't lie to you. We give you our sources and we have great conversations. I enjoy breaking news to you, stuff that's maybe floating around out there that seems a little out there. And you're like, I don't know about that. Well, we're going to start with one of those today, because this era of transparency is upon us, my friends. We have the most open and honest, transparent administration, I believe, in our lifetimes. And you're like, oh, yeah, she's a Trump sycophant. Hell yeah, I am, for good reason. You're going to know all about it moments away in the opening monologue. WendyBellRadio.com. Follow us, get the live video stream, join in our podcast, almost 8 million podcast downloads strong. Thank you. And welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, you don't want to be too cynical in your life that you're so pessimistic and you miss beautiful opportunities because you're expecting the other shoe to drop, right? I think some people are a little bit too serious, too skeptical, too out there in whatever denial. They don't want to know the truth. Being too bold and thinking and believing everything you hear obviously has its own pitfalls. But when you get whammoed in the face with something that's as big as a potential cure for cancer, and you find out that the United States government knew about it, allegedly, back in 1951, you got to ask yourself, what is going on? Now, look, later in the program, we're going to open up the door even further to this conversation of aliens, of unknown aerial phenomena, right? We're going to talk more about this push to get more transparent to all of us about what our government has known for many years about alien activity, okay? In that same vein, don't you guys think that you deserve to know if there has been a safe and effective and affordable and abundant treatment for cancer that you have not been allowed to get? Because that's where I am right now. I'm a little bit angry because I'm reading this story on the Daily Mail. And I want to read you the headline. I want you to decide what you think. Do you believe it is within the realm of possibility that there is, in fact, a treatment for cancer that you haven't been told about, that you haven't been allowed to get because there's so much money in you being sick? Do you guys think that's beyond the pale of reason? Do you think that's out there on pushing the limits of common sense? Of course not. There's no money if you don't need to go to the doctor. There's no money if you don't need all those exams, those scans, if you don't need chemotherapy. There is no money, ladies and gentlemen, in you being well. And you would say to yourself, come on now, my government wouldn't sacrifice my health and that of the people I love just to make $1. Oh, really? Is that so? I'm going to read you this. Ready? Headline, Daily Mail. CIA faces furious backlash after hidden document with potential cure for cancer is declassified after 60 years. I'm sorry? Yeah. That's your headline. I'm going to set that up right there, okay? So there's your main entree. Let's get out our utensils and start digging into this. Ready? A newly surfaced CIA document suggests U.S. intelligence once reviewed research that hinted at a possible cancer treatment more than 60 years ago. The document, produced in February 1951 and declassified in 2014, summarizes a Soviet scientific paper that examined striking similarities between parasitic worms and cancerous tumors. The report describes how researchers believed both organisms thrived under nearly identical metabolic conditions and accumulated large reserves of glycogen, a form of stored energy. The research also highlighted experiments showing that certain chemical compounds were capable of targeting both parasitic infections and malignant tumors. One drug, in fact, Mirasil D, was reportedly effective against bilharzia parasites as well as cancerous growths, hinting that treatments developed for parasites might also attack tumors. And they knew about this 70 years ago. What is going on? Are you ready to be truly disappointed by generations of greed and corruption and depravity? How many of you right now have cancer? Are you one of the roughly 2 million people a year who are diagnosed with one form of it or another? Have you fought it? Have you survived it? Do you know people who didn't? Are they in your family? Are they under your roof? Are they not showing up at your kitchen table at dinner anymore? And could that have changed? Other compounds were found to interfere with nucleic acid production, a process essential for the uncontrolled growth of cancer cells. Experiments on mice even showed that tumor tissues reacted differently to certain chemicals than normal tissues, further reinforcing the perceived biochemical overlap between parasites and cancers. How many of you heard about ivermectin before they put out that whole public service announcement campaign that the media mocked us about? Dude, it's horse paste. Don't be a horse. Or maybe it should have been, don't get your hand on that hydroxychloroquine or that ivermectin, which is pennies on the dollar in abundant supply. We can get it at the drop of a hat. But if you have access to that, we can't force you to get an experimental vaccine that we know is tragically dangerous, that we know in phase 1 clinical trials before COVID, because it was being tested before it all happened, that 1,200 people died, that we know causes turbo cancers. And 9 pages of side effects that are life altering. And they went to the FBI and the Postal Service went and worked together to take your mail order ivermectin from you. And they said it was experimental. No. You've got to get this drug instead. They knew it. Generations ago, they knew that they had a cure. Potential cure for all cancer. How do you feel about that? Do you feel now that your government works on your behalf? And I'm not talking about this iteration of it. I believe that when President Trump, from the very beginning, spoke of the swamp, it wasn't the 535 members of Congress. It was about a group of unelected bureaucrats, the people who ran Joe Biden's auto pen, that kind of ilk, who behind the scenes, without you knowing about it, and without even the President of the United States knowing about it, have done things for decades to make you sick. That's what I believe. I believe the stuff that's about to come out with the UFOs, with the aliens, with the biological material, with all this stuff that we know about, they've known about for as long as this Daily Mail article alleges they've known about a cure for cancer. What the heck else aren't you being told? And then when everybody comes out and tries to tell you, no, I'm on your side. I'm all about what you want. No, you're not. Why does it take a 56-year-old mom to be hot and bothered over this, to be furious over this, to just spread a word to a tiny, infinitesimal fragment of our society? Why? The disgusting answer is, we don't matter. We are guinea pigs. We are lab rats. We are the bodies that march out into battle. We're the people of flyover country that they mock. We're the people who make the stuff, who grow it, who transport it and sell it. We are America, and they've abused us for far too long. This president, when he came down as then candidate private citizen Donald Trump, did a whole lot more than just say he was running for president. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, new polling shows a majority of Americans have not been swayed by the fake news. This is a very eye-opening new poll. I got all the top liners for you. I think you're going to like it. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Not just what you were saying. So while you were talking, I Googled how much funding in the last 50 years. Over $1 trillion.
What isn't a grift? What isn't a grift? Food production, a grift. Helping the homeless, a grift. Drug addiction, a grift. Autism, a grift. COVID, grift. What? How far do we need to go? How far do we need to go?
Make a list of the things that aren't a grift.
Like literally, tell me in the comments here. Who do you know? Who do you know that could have been saved by taking something like the wellness company provides you? Ivermectin and mebendazole. It's an anti-parasitic. If parasites and cancer tumors work the same way, what do you think that's going to do to your cancer tumor? Why didn't they want you to get it? Why did they go after the doctors? Relentlessly, they went after their medical licenses for talking about ivermectin. Do you remember our friend Dr. Naputi, who was talking about like vitamin D and zinc? And they were like, oh, and he got sued for $500 billion. He wasn't talking about some potion he was whipping up in his trunk. He was talking about sunlight and zinc. Oh my gosh, things that happen in nature you can have and you can do well with. And they freaking fined him $500 billion. That's how scared they were. We had him on the show. We were in the basement. Remember, Brock?
Yep.
I do. Michael was probably sucking out water, right? I was like, dude, this is such a freaking racket. Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Not a racket.
IrelandContracting.com, not a racket. The real deal. 3 days. 3 days to take a whole roof off, put in 8 new skylights, clean everything up, trim it all, and put on new shingles and everything. Yeah, 3 days, in and out, dumpster gone. I went upstairs to take a shower, came downstairs, the dumpster was gone. I was like, what happened? Gone. There's just one little sign. Ireland Contracting. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. I didn't get preferential treatment. This is what you get when you need a new roof. Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. I love them. I still haven't gotten my bill.
Roofs, just let me say,
It's
putting
so
a roof
sexy.
on something can be a very...
Getting a roof is like getting a root canal. It's necessary, but there's nothing glamorous about it. You're
No.
not like, look. Right?
You can at least go, look at my nice new roof.
Yeah. No, No, you can't.
Colonoscopy.
Mine doesn't show. You can't see it. You can't see it. So not like that is really exquisite. They'd just be like, your bank account
It's
is
exquisite
really
because you're
empty.
not sopping up water off your walls.
Gosh. I'm so annoyed by it. I'm just so annoyed. Inflation. Oh my God. It's so interesting that the fake news really has not moved the needle for the majority of Americans. There is a Harvard Cabs Harris poll that's out. It's from April. And this was all done before the White House Correspondents Association shooting. But I want to read you some of the top line stuff, which tells me one very clear message. This president is effective. He's doing what he needs to do, pressing the accelerator down, moving forward, coming in ahead of schedule. And quite frankly, the Democratic Party, the left, they don't know what to do. All they can do is create a reason for outrage, a reason to divide people, to get people angry, and it's not sticking the landing. Ready? Trump approval steady at 46% among likely midterm voters and 80% with GOP voters. 46% approval. What? That is huge. 85% of voters are concerned about the cost of living, that it's going to rise given geopolitical tensions. I agree. 52% of voters support the U.S. military's airstrikes on Iran, with 54% viewing them as justified. 79% of voters think President Trump was right to agree to a temporary ceasefire in Iran. 74% say the United States is winning in this Operation Epic Fury, with 63% affirming the U.S. should continue its blockade if Iran refuses to give up its uranium. 74% say this president is winning. You guys, at face value, right now, leading into the midterms, plus you factor in the Supreme Court's decision that says you cannot racially gerrymander your congressional districts. And so your southern states have no other recourse than to say, in obeyance of the Supreme Court ruling, we've got to go back and redistrict now because it's not fair. It was gerrymandered to benefit Black voters, and that's to the discrimination and to the detriment of everybody else. And the high court said he can't do that. All of the stuff that they're trying to tell you and jam down your throat that's negative about this administration is not working. 64% of voters believe that Iranian leadership is now split into competing factions. 60% say Iran is unlikely to give up its nuclear program despite pressure. 66% of voters support an international naval force to secure the free movement of ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Well, you know what? Nobody else is coming to our aid here. So President Trump started something new, and we're going to tell you about it after the break. 74% of voters have a favorable view of their country, America. However, only 55% of female Gen Z share the same view. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the takeaway. Something has happened to the young women of this country. And I don't know what it was. I don't know where they got it. I don't know how it happened, but it didn't happen overnight. It had to happen in school. It had to happen in high school. It had to happen in college. And there is some malleable thing going on with women, and they feel shame for this country right now. What is going on? So how about this? Majority of voters with a favorable view of the United States. 37% of voters say the U.S. is on the right track. Among key American institutions and foreign actors, voters have the highest net favorable view of the United States military, plus 62, and the country, a plus 57. We're proud of America, and the least favorable view of Iran, minus 52. Inflation, the economy, immigration, and healthcare continue to be the nation's four most important issues today. Well, who created inflation? Joe Biden. Who screwed up the economy? Joe Biden. Who screwed up healthcare? Barack Obama, right? And then who screwed up what? What was the last one? Healthcare? Yes. Immigration and healthcare. Immigration. Who opened up the border? Joe Biden. You have a president right now who's net favorable 46%. This, what? Months away from the midterms, while we're engaged in a military operation in Iran that overwhelmingly is supported by the American people. The Democratic Party is running out of options. The playbook is very, very thin. And now they're trying to bring out the hook and drag in their DNC chair, Ken Martin. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what they're up against because, ladies and gentlemen, there's some cruise ship somewhere that's got 3 people who've died because of a new virus. Are you feeling it? You feeling the new tragedy, the new airborne virus, the new malady that must keep us all home for the midterms? I don't know. I wouldn't put anything past these people. We've got our eyes on it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I want to talk about these moves in Iran. The mullahs or whomever's in charge there have given Donald Trump their request. And the president said, yeah, not a chance. We're going to do something else, and you can fend for yourselves. Good luck with that. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. 55%.
I got one word that answers that. Feminism.
My gosh.
That's
But why didn't I fall for it? I'm in that I'm there.
but you're not, because you think for yourself. That
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't understand what happened to young women and not having a daughter. I don't know. If my daughter came home from school and said some of the crap that we see in this polling, I'd be like, oh, really? You're not proud of being an American? How about we send you to Caracas for a while? How about you go to Cuba? There's direct flights now from Miami. Why don't you go check that out, see how it feels?
You know what it is? As you sneeze,
Excuse me.
I'm going to say it's all about
Excuse me.
how men and women are different. Men go out, they don't dress for other men. Women go out, men, if you believe they're dressed like that for you, women compare themselves to women. Period. And that's feminism.
I don't even know if I do that.
You don't.
I don't
Feminism
feel like I do that.
Is who's the strongest woman? Because you fall into the category of I'm okay with roles. I'm okay with the norm of I'm a mom. That's my first job.
Yeah.
They taught for so long that your first job, and you all remember the kicker from Kansas City. God, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
All he said was the most important role you're going to have as a mother.
He said, I'm sure many of you young ladies here are excited about your next chapter. You know?
Yeah.
Starting a life, starting a family. Well, your uterus is kind of imperative in that one. So it made sense. And people were like, rah! It's like, oh my gosh. You have lost your religion, but you have found cats. So good luck with that.
You're one of the few women in the workforce when you say, I could say to you, what do you do? Now I'm broad brush. I know most of you probably feel the same way. When someone says to you, what do you do? You're like, well, I'm a mom first, but I also, that's typically not.
Well, if you look at my bio, it says wife, mom of boys, conservative talk show host. Right? I want to tell you guys about Ghost Bed. Ghost Bed right now has a phenomenal deal, Memorial Day sale, right? Plus they give you an extra 10% off. How does that work out? Works out pretty well if you ask me. Hold on, let me open up the script because this one is specific. Ghost Bed is having their Memorial Day sale plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Wendy. Look, they build at Ghost Bed. These aren't just mattresses. They're legitimately engineered sleep systems. It's part of your overall well-being and health. If you don't sleep well, if you don't sleep comfortably, you're supposed to spend about a third of your life in bed. And if that 1/3 of it or a quarter of it is lousy, what's going to happen to the rest of your life? Kind of falls apart. Ghost Bed, their beds are seriously health equipment. They're designed for relief and recovery, not for looks, not for fluff. Your body should be healing as you sleep, not fighting for comfort. So if you're waking up stiff, if you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, if you even reach for a pain reliever because whatever you do while you're sleeping hurts you, please go to ghostbed.com/Wendy. They give you 101 nights to sleep on it and then tell them if you don't want it. Made in America, made by a guy who knows about back pain, who's had multiple surgeries, who finally invented his own line of mattresses because he couldn't find anything that made him sleep well. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. I have one. They are fantastic.
I could have used one this weekend.
Oh, I'm sure. No, we have to send one to Tom and Jolene so you don't have to sleep on the
He's
dog
gonna
bed.
need one. He texted me this morning, how you feeling this morning? Which I was fine, like, I mean, I was sore.
It's a lot. When you don't use those muscles, it's a lot.
And I said, well, how you're feeling? He did most of the work. He
Mhm.
honestly did. And he's like, well, my hands, shoulders, and back hurt, my legs. And I'm like, that's pretty much your entire body.
So basically what you're saying is your ears are good.
Yeah, my hair and ears and toes are okay. I whacked myself in the shin with a hammer.
No, you did not.
Yeah.
No, you
Because you're
did
pounding
not.
boards to try to get them up.
Okay, I don't want to hear about it.
And I missed
Okay.
the board. I found my leg. I just proved this weekend construction is not my jam. I'm more of an inside pushing buttons.
I watched the guys from Shell House Construction at my house over the weekend.
They worked
all day Saturday and they worked about 4 hours on Sunday. And they
You want me to pull it up?
No, I'm gonna see.
They threw that up, man, and
I'm gonna pull
2
up.
pitches, and
You can't even tell now because our this is now the camera
nice
outside my bedroom window that we used to be able to look down on. But yeah, let me see if I can find you that picture. It's remarkable. I'm not going to do it fast enough, probably. Here we go. Let's see.
I think Jolene's still selling my tulip blooms too. That's nuts. On a weekend?
Yes, and wait a minute. That's crazy.
Yeah. They fly.
We were at a soccer tournament or soccer game, and I was looking at the Ring doorbell. I'm like, oh my God, I love this.
Cost me a fortune to feed them too. Jeez.
Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. It is a joy to spend some time with you on this Monday. Thank you so very much. So there's a huge scramble going on all around the world, and it's all caused by one guy, Donald Trump, right? You cannot have a nuclear weapon. We've told you repeatedly, and you still are creating nuclear weapons. Goodbye. Launched the war. Saved the planet from the booga of the terrorists jumping around the corner. The world's leading state sponsor of terrorism. How many Americans have died in the last 47 years because of these people in Iran? 1,000? 2,000? It stops. And the president said, it stops. And they didn't listen. And so they launched Operation Epic Fury. And now we're at this position where Iran has nothing left. And still, President Trump realizes that if he goes full destructo mode, that there are ripple effect consequences to the Iranian people who have no electricity, no internet, no access to food, no access to medicine, and a government that has been destroyed. They have no weapons. President Trump knows this. And so as everybody in the whole world can be critical of every decision he makes, he is the one and only person with the huevos to say, do it. And now that the fragments of whatever Iranian leadership is left is trying to terrorize ships in the Strait of Hormuz, the president said, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We don't get our stuff through the Persian Gulf. America is energy independent. You all need it, not us. I've asked you, other countries in Europe, I've asked you for your assistance. I've asked you to partner with me, and you did not. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to provide escorted safe passage to any ship that is frozen within the confines of the strait, paralyzed and not able to move. You've got people, 1 billion people in India right now who need liquefied natural gas to cook. 1 billion. It's on those vessels. You want to talk about fertilizer issues? Europe doesn't have any. It's sitting on those ships in that waterway. And this president was like, you know what? Without help from anybody else, again, the United States of America will come in on the white horse and we will save the day. And once he's able to guarantee safe passage to all of these vessels, watch the price of oil plummet. So here's the article, the most recent update on what's going on with Iran. And it's important because the president said basically, fungu to their request for everything in the world. And the president was like, no, we're not going to do that. So best wishes, you're losing $500 million a day and your economy is going to collapse because it already pretty much has. Trump announces Project Freedom to escort ships out of Hormuz. Any interference, he says, will be dealt with forcefully. All you have to think about all those little narco boats. And he was like, oh, look at that one. Yeah, you probably don't want to be bringing drugs to our shore. There's another one. It took 22 hits and 100 dead narco guys for everybody to get the message. This president means business. President Trump announced Sunday that the United States will begin what he dubbed Project Freedom today, to guide and free foreign ships trapped in the Strait of Hormuz, warning that any interference with the humanitarian operation will be dealt with forcefully as vessels he described as neutral and innocent bystanders remain stranded amid the conflict. In a Truth Social post, President Trump said countries from all over the world that are not party to the ongoing regional conflict have asked Washington to help free these ships locked up in the Strait of Hormuz, describing them as neutral and innocent bystanders. For the good of Iran, the Middle East, and the United States, we have told these countries that we will guide their ships safely out of these restricted waterways so they can freely and ably get on with their business, he wrote, adding that U.S. representatives have been directed to use best efforts to secure the safe departure of both vessels and crews. He framed the operation as a humanitarian issue. This is a humanitarian mission, he says, emphasizing that many vessels are running low on food and everything else necessary to sustain the large crews, calling them victims of circumstance. And then he dropped a not so veiled threat. If in any way this humanitarian process is interfered with, that interference will unfortunately have to be dealt with forcefully. That means we'll bomb you into the middle of next week. President Trump added that U.S. representatives are engaged in very positive discussions with Iran that could lead to something very positive for all, while making it clear that the humanitarian extraction operation is proceeding completely independently of those talks. So here we have this guy, here we have the president. They're like, release the UFO files, right? The gas is too expensive. The cost of living is too much. We've got to close the border. We've got to bring up this and that. All these things. And the president is like, all right, let's make sure everybody can get their ships out of there and we'll still negotiate with whatever kind of regime is left in Iran. How does the guy sleep? He doesn't. Something happens, right? And he makes it happen. So now listen, Fox has Iran's demands. I want you to hear, because they had the ceasefire extent or ended Friday. And it's like, look, you've got to give us what your best ideas are. Bring them to the table. Let's see if we can make a deal. Well, let's see what Iran has put forward on the table and see if it at all is user-friendly for us. Let's go.
And it included a list of demands: a withdrawal of U.S. troops, a lifting of the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports, lifting sanctions, releasing frozen assets, an end to the war between Israel and the Iranian-backed militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon, and a new post-war order where Iran is in charge of the Strait of Hormuz, charging tolls and denying Israeli and U.S. ships from entering. The U.S. says Iranian control of the strait is completely unacceptable. The U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues, choking Iran's economy. CENTCOM says 49 ships have been blocked, totaling $6 billion worth of oil.
Yeah, and Iran's offer there, all of their demands, none of which even talk about uranium enrichment and never again trying to make a nuclear weapon. Now, first of all, are you dumb enough to think that Iran can be counted on? That there is any deal that they wouldn't break, that they have their fingers crossed behind their backs as they're shaking hands on something? There is nothing that this old regime is going to agree to that in any way inhibits their ability to kill everybody on planet Earth, period. This president knows that. Well, U.S. Central Command has confirmed it's supporting this Project Freedom starting today, already has started there, outlining a significant military posture behind the effort. This is completely, I love that this is what this president is doing. He's like, look, these other countries are unwilling to get involved, but it's their stuff that's stuck in the strait. So once again, we will come forward, we will do the job, and we will remind Italy and Spain and the UK and all of these other countries when it comes time to negotiate deals like tariffs and trade and whatnot. Where were you? Oh, that's right. You weren't here. You weren't with us. Our support for this defensive mission is essential to regional security and the global economy, as we also maintain the naval blockade. And look, anybody who wants to talk about gas prices right now, they suck. I mean, I see them in my neighborhood. They're $4.69 a gallon. Yes. Is it going to be temporary? Yes. Is it going to change? Hopefully in the next, 3-4 weeks? Yes. This is the move that President Trump is making to make sure that that happens. They will also use, think about this, Central Command says U.S. support will include guided missile destroyers, more than 100 land and sea-based aircraft, multi-domain unmanned platforms, i.e. drones, and approximately 15,000 service members to make sure that those ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Where's everybody else? What are they doing to chip in on this? Can you imagine President Trump going it alone? Always. First person they blame, the last person they congratulate, the missions they nitpick, and they armchair quarterback all day long. And he's like, look, India's got to cook food. Look, Europe's got to grow stuff. They need seeds and fertilizer. Look, we're going to fix this irrespective of Iran. And Iran is going to fall apart. Period. I'll remind you that Harvard Caps Harris poll, 74% of Americans support this president and say he has to finish the job. What you're hearing in your media day after day, this drumbeat of news about this operation, isn't moving the needle, and they are panicking. So let me read this. I studied the new Iranian proposal. Trump said it is not acceptable to me. Their campaign is progressing very well. The proposal, 14-point framework conveyed via Pakistani intermediaries, has been widely reported to demand sweeping concessions from Washington and literally zero on the part of Iran. Foreign minister there of Iran, spokesperson, said their proposal is focused entirely on ending the war. That's what their Iranian state TV is saying, stressing that Tehran is not engaged in nuclear negotiations at this stage. Look, that's the only stage. That's the golden chalice. And we're not going to get there. So this president says, well, we'll give everybody else safe passage. Iran will not have any oil leaving the country. They will not be able to fuel China or anybody else or Russia. You don't get to sell it. Nobody gets to have it. And then tell me what's going to happen to everybody's economies. It's almost like this president knows. Well, when we come back, I want to talk about this squeeze on Europe. He's pulling out troops, and quite a few of them, out of Germany. And the German chancellor was like, wait a minute. Whoa. I know we've been bad partners with you, but can we talk about it? Yeah, no. I got that story for you next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. So do we leave NATO, do you think, Brock?
Well,
it's setting up to be that.
It's a long process to do it.
You've got like steps. Mm-hmm. What do we get out of it?
Iran's now pissing off every other country in the Middle East. They bombed UAE just recently, and they're fighting back. I read that Saudi Arabia is already building a pipeline to go around the Strait of Hormuz. So keep the blockade going. Just shut Iran down. They'll figure the
UAE
rest of them
says
will figure it out.
Saudi, I think it was the Saudis, they're saying they're cranking up their production.
Yeah,
now, right?
7 million barrels a day with their new pipeline that avoids the Strait of Hormuz.
And I think that's a couple million barrels a day more than I had been. So basically we're squeezing out.
And you said it last week. This is Trump going on that tour at the beginning of his second presidency with the sword dances and the camels and the horses.
Hey, Saudi Prince Bin Salman, whatever his name is. What is it? Mohammed? I forget what's his name.
Solomon.
I don't know. You just made him a terrorist. I think. I don't know. But oh, he has no plan. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's like, okay. Let me tell you, bloodflow7.com. bloodflow7.com/Wendy. There's no need for you to feel fatigued. There's no need for you to feel like age is catching up with you. Like you just can't go as far. You can't lift as much. You just don't have it anymore. I guess, well, I am getting older. Does that sound like something you want to admit and accept? No, especially if you don't have to. A lot of that stamina, a lot of that exhaustion, hitting the wall in the afternoon and needing a nap, a lot of that fatigue is based on blood flow. And wonderful things about bloodflow7.com is it opens up your blood vessels so that more blood flows through them and gets to all over your body. Think about it for your brain. It sharpens your mind, focus and clarity. Think about your heart, more blood pumping through, more oxygen to you. What does that mean for you? You can walk longer. You can lift more. You can, all of it. This is what it looks like. 2 capsules a day. You can take it on an empty stomach. It does not make you feel weird at all. I noticed it within the first 24 hours. I was like, and I notice it if I stop taking it. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Do this for you. And then let me know how you feel. Look, it's like less than $1 a day. 30% off. 30% off. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I swear by it. I swear by it. Email me when you get it and try it. wendybellradio@gmail.com. I want to know. I want to know what you're thinking. I know, I'll stop singing. Sorry. So the U.S. is going to guide out all of these vessels. We're going to be the protectors. If Iran wants to fiddle with us, they're going to bomb the hell out of whomever it is. We're going to blow up your boats. We're going to do whatever needs to be done. You are now a fly that is driving us crazy. Get away. You're a gnat. What else do they have to complain about, you guys? And maybe we can unwrap this cure for cancer while peace is being settled across the world. Wouldn't that be lovely? Can you imagine that? If all the offenders ended up in jail, we got money back and had a cure for cancer.
Deport.
What'd you say?
Deport them.
Oh, deport them. Deportation might be too benevolent. Send them out to outer space. It's not very nice. So why exactly is the United States a part of NATO? Why is it that we provide the majority of the financing? That's you and that's me. We do that. Why is it that we provide the majority of the military muscle? We have thousands upon thousands of troops stationed all over the place. Do you know what it looks like to have an American military presence in your country? Pretty damn good. It's got to feel good if you don't have your own golden dome or you don't have your own military the way President Trump has made ours. Now Donald Trump is saying, you know what? I don't really think we need to be there in Germany anymore. Oh my. Trump says the U.S. will withdraw a lot more than just 5,000 troops from Germany. This is the unwinding of America from NATO. President Donald Trump has said far more troop reductions are in the offing after the Pentagon announced Friday that some 5,000 U.S. soldiers would be withdrawn from bases in Germany over the coming year. In a press gaggle on the tarmac of the Palm Beach airport Saturday evening, President Trump said of his planned troop reductions in Germany, we're going to cut way down, and we're going to cut a lot further than 5,000. The U.S. leader has previously planned to bring back around 9,500 soldiers from Germany. That was during his first term. However, his successor, Joe Biden, reversed that decision before it could be enacted. At present, approximately 36,000 American troops are stationed in Germany, and around 80,000 are across Europe. Maybe those folks like to come home. Maybe it's time to come home, right? I mean, we're going and our military is doing all this stuff in the Strait of Hormuz that all these countries are unwilling to help with. So what are we doing? Basically planting our flag on their sand, using our military in their countries as a deterrent for other people doing bad things to our allies. Well, they're not really acting very allied, right? The announcement, the move of bringing these soldiers home, comes amid a broader shift in U.S. military policy towards NATO and Europe in light of the response to the Iran conflict. Although Berlin did not go as far as Madrid in blocking base access for American forces, I mean, there's a reason why Trump has called out Spain and Germany and France. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has been vocally critical of the White House's strategy in the conflict, claiming that Iran has humiliated the United States. I'm not so sure I'd say that. I don't think they're used to a president responding in real time to real words that don't represent real allied support. And so now NATO is getting a touch nervous. The Polish prime minister says NATO alliance faces disintegration amid U.S. troop reductions from Europe. President Trump is following the timelines. There are some necessary things you've got to go through if you're going to withdraw from NATO. Seems like he's started the clock in motion. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has warned that the Western NATO military alliance is in jeopardy of disintegration in the wake of the announced U.S. troop drawdown in Germany. You know, I'm proud to have a president who stands up for America, who says, look, America understands we'll be there, but if you won't be there with us, if you won't get in the trenches with us, why are we even entertaining the notion of protecting you? Can you imagine if we were attacked? Would any of these countries come to our aid? That's the big question. On Friday, the Pentagon said that around 5,000 soldiers would be relocated from bases in Germany. Now it's maybe 9,000 over the next year. Trump has also suggested moving American forces out of countries such as Italy and Spain, all of whom he has accused of disloyalty over the response to the conflict. I mean, this is not complicated. This president has said, look, I'm a businessman. I myself am a billionaire. I've made billions. I've lost billions. I understand business, but I know how to make it work. If you partner with us, we'll not only make America great again. Why don't we make Spain great again? Why don't we make Germany great again? What are you doing? And they're like, yeah, about that. I don't really think so. And so he's like, okay, we don't need you. You need us. And the more oil we make, the more oil we ship out, the more energy independent we are, the more reliant on us you are. Seems like the president has most of the keys here. Writing on X, the Polish leader remarked, the greatest threat to the transatlantic community are not its external enemies, but the ongoing disintegration of our alliance. We must all do what it takes to reverse this disastrous trend. Maybe that means growing a pair and standing up for yourself and defending your own country. And when the Americans ask for help, giving it. I don't know. Does that seem difficult to you guys? Well, you know what isn't difficult at all is telling the truth about, I don't know, Russia, disinformation, Russia meddling in 2020 and 2016 elections. The guy who wrote the intelligence assessment that was a joke that led to Donald Trump's first impeachment. We know who he is now. And I can't wait to tell you all about this guy. His name is Gavin Wild. And he's trying to backpedal right now, all of the threats that he put out there. Oh my, the information you need to realize, all of their fake news to destroy this president, right? Was exactly what you thought. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I loved reading this story from Just the News. I was like, shut up. The lack of any kind of professionalism in any of these investigations and any of these whatevers is so mind-bending. It's like Pete Buttigieg. It's like he and Elizabeth Warren and Spirit Airlines. Don't let them touch a damn thing. It's wild.
Just think, pulling those troops out, what that'll do to Germany's economy. You pull out 5,000 people who put money in the economy.
And by the way, the beautiful thing about Iran is since they have the military they have no money. How long are people going to be willing to fight on behalf of a completely tattered government that has no money? You going to really run out there and put your life on the line? No. Iran's going to be in a world of hurt in another week or two if it gets that far. And I agree with Brock. You start yanking our folks out. You start slapping these countries with tariffs. He slapped Germany with an extra 25% on cars. What's that? Mercedes-Benz? Is that German? It's German, isn't it?
BMW is, I think. Ron DeSantis has signed Florida's new congressional map into law. Could gain Republicans 4 seats in the midterm election.
And they're going to say, oh, they're rigging the South. No. See, we're righting the wrong that your racial gerrymandering produced. It's white voters who've been disenfranchised. I think we should call racism. Just saying. It's all about squeezing you guys. All right, let's talk about it. Who do we want to discuss? Ooh, I brought something.
Someone's getting pushed down the stairs.
That's not true. Just every now and again, it's nice to just sort of touch silver. WendyLovesGold.com. So in my investment with Texas Bullion Exchange, I got some silver coins. They are cool and they are fantastic and they feel really nice in my fingers. That was kind of creepy. WendyLovesGold.com. Look, there are a lot of people you can buy gold and silver and platinum and palladium from. But I don't know that many people who guarantee your investment with a promise that if you buy gold and silver from wendylovesgold.com, that they will never allow you to lose money on that investment. Say you buy this and you're like, oh, snap, I've come into tough times. I need to sell. Well, what if the value of your stuff is plummeted? You're not going to get back less than what you paid for it. Like, who does that? It's called their principal protection program. I don't know any other business that does that. Then if you sign up for a principal protection portfolio through them, they're going to give you 6% free silver. Why do you think I got this? So if you'd like to have your handful of cool, fabulous silver, 855-927-5557, wendylovesgold.com. They're like poker chips. You can kind of do that with it, you know. I love it. Satisfies me. Uh-oh. Till they get stuck.
Do you want me to
Oh, you want to help?
take care of them for you?
They're super beautiful. Super beautiful. Look at this one. Hold on. Let's see if it focuses. They are so pretty. I love them. So there's nothing like having, I don't even know what that is, 20 of those? Nice. This is how they come. Like the UPS guy is like, and you open the door and there's a brown box and you're like, ooh, kind of heavy. And it's silver. You're like, this is super weird. But it's fantastic. I love Texas Bullion Exchange. I think you guys will too. See? It's like buying a little Tupperware. Okay. What's going on out there, guys? How are you? Spiritless, this Spirit airline thing. It's just like an exercise in incompetence. You're not business people, Democrats, right? We cannot expect the government to run as a business because everything they touch sucks. Everything is a cost overrun. It's over budget. It's over time. It's always underwhelming. It always ends up costing us. And so you have two airlines, JetBlue and Spirit, and they're like, hey, we want to merge. And they were like, yeah, no, we don't think so. Not allowing that. And so now Spirit Airlines had to fold 17,000 people without a job. You did that, Elizabeth Warren. You did that, Pete Buttigieg. You did that, whatever, Joe Biden. Great people. All right. Let's see where we are. 1.75. Yeesh. Can we get 250 people to click that thumbs up button underneath my fabulous face? Underneath my big mouth right here. Just go, oh. And you click on it. You're like, God, that felt so good. Right? 5 people said, okay.
And may the fourth be with you.
That's true.
Your favorite day is tomorrow.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Margaritas.
Tequila.
Tequila. I will not be having tequila. So that's just fine. I hope NATO is nervous. I hope Europe is antsy. They haven't planned. Their militaries can't defend themselves. They don't have the manufacturing. They haven't put in the money. They've been relying on the big blanket of protection from the United States. And then when it comes time to earn that partnership, they went, I don't blame Donald Trump. And he put it out there. He personally excoriated Spain. He personally called out Italy. He personally called out the UK and Keir Starmer. Personally. I'm sure King, what's his face? Charles was like, don't let him ruin everything between us. Right?
I mean, Donald Trump has the ultimate, for no pun intended, Trump card. Because all these people need to sell to us. Mm-hmm. All of them.
Yep.
And why is Europe allowed to work together with Donald Trump working this hemisphere and this side of the world?
Don't do that.
Together. That is
why is Ilhan Omar's net worth allowed to go up and then down and then, right? How's that possible? Down and then up and then down again? What? And Trump got indicted
that's
for overvaluing his brand?
But paying it back?
What? Yeah, he was
That's
never in
Democrat
arrears,
math.
never late.
It's that Common Core crap they pushed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain separate you from Make America Great Again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live. I want to ask you seriously, how many of you think Donald Trump cheated in the 2016, 2020, or 2024 election? How many of you believe that Donald Trump was working with the Kremlin and he's working with Vladimir Putin and they're trying to figure it out so that he could win? Hillary couldn't win, and then 2020 came. Oh, what happened there? Right? Do you believe that for a hot second, even remotely? Do you think that Vladimir Putin would have preferred Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump? Hell yeah. Are you kidding? I believe it was Russia that hacked into her private email server in her house, and that Putin has all of the details about the Clinton crime family foundation and all the dirty pool that those two clowns were a part of, all of the dirty donations, all of the buying, currying favor before she was allegedly elected. Remember that? The hundreds of millions of dollars. Where did that go? Well, they weren't interested in that. They just wanted you to believe that Donald Trump was a Russian asset, because that makes sense. I could totally put those things together, right? The same way that the guy who funded Jesse Jackson's campaign for president, not once, but twice, that guy is a racist. Same way. Yeah. The same way that the guy who's married to a freaking supermodel who's gorgeous, right, looked at E. Jean Carroll in a dressing department, in a whatever, a department store, and said, I have to have you, right? Because we all believe that. It's so beyond any realm of reason that you're like, you've got to do better. Well, one of the main architects of the whole Russia collusion nightmare has now been unmasked, essentially. Tulsi Gabbard just did it. And I want to read you this article from John Solomon's Just the News, because they put this president through years of lawfare, years of politicization, years of fake news coverage, and you and I paid for it. A key witness in the U.S. intelligence community's assessments on Russian meddling into the 2016 and 2020 U.S. elections, and Congress's attempt to impeach President Trump for purportedly pressuring Ukraine to help him win the first race, is now backpedaling from the roles he played, right? He's like, yeah, maybe that's not really what happened, but it kind of felt like it. So I thought I'd run with it. And then nobody vetted me, and it all just kind of exploded into this big story. But yeah, I really didn't mean that. Are you kidding me? Gavin Wild, who now works at think tanks in the nation's capital, co-authored the flawed January 2017 intelligence community assessment on Russian meddling in the 2016 election prior to serving on the Trump National Security Council, 2018 and 2019. This is one of the guys that Trump didn't know about, who was serving in capacity for this administration, who was really there to create as many headaches as possible. This dude, Gavin Wild, is literally digging and planting IEDs underneath the ground, right? And burying them so the president can walk over them. All of it was fake. Everything Russia, the collusion, the conspiring. That's why President Trump put out that phone call. He told you exactly what he was saying. He told you exactly what he said to Vladimir Zelensky that day. He released the transcript in like 2 hours. And we're just now, 10 years later, getting the name of the guy who, along with Eric Charmella, created the whole Russia collusion nightmare. And the President Trump has never had any role in it. He also had no role in the Steele dossier. He also had no role in trying to steal 2020. And of course, you all know that January 6th was a cover-up of all of this, yes? Just the News reported previously that Wild was the unnamed witness number 2 identified in the Ukraine impeachment documents released in April by DNI Tulsi Gabbard, based on information from U.S. government sources familiar with the matter, but who declined to be named. Wild did not respond to recent requests for comment. God forbid he should come forward and be like, you know, I hated Donald Trump, and I guess I kind of helped make some stuff up to make it look like he was working with Putin to steal the election. Oh, well, sorry about that. How is that allowed? How is that allowed? The 2019 claims by Witness 2, that's who he was, were critical in helping Intelligence Community Inspector General Michael Atkinson push Ukraine whistleblower Eric Charmella's complaint forward, saying, oh, I heard something on that phone call. It sounded like a quid pro quo. It sounded like the president was asking Zelensky for help at digging up dirt on Joe Biden. Can you imagine? Really? The Democrat-led House impeached Trump in 2019 on 2 charges: abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Trump never abused his power. Trump was trying to fulfill his election promises to you and to me. And he said that day that he came down that escalator, I will stand in that gap. I will be your voice. I know how this game is played. I was once in that circle. I once was at those functions. I know these players. But I couldn't be bought. I couldn't be bribed. And I'm not dirty. And they know it. And I'm the only one who's going to be able to do this. And so I'm going to put my life on hold. But now it's been 10 years. And they've tried to kill him. They've tried to politically assassinate him. He gets 98% negative news coverage. As this guy, this jackass, this jerk, this never Trump sycophant on the left created the BS intelligence that led to the impeachment of President Trump. Where does Gavin Wild go? How does he get punished? Because the pile-on for our president involved 4 indictments, all at the same time, all within a month of one another. 2 of them were within a week of one another. You don't think that this entire charade concocted by the left, as simultaneously they sat on Hunter Biden's laptop and they went after people who tried to talk about it, people like me, and they worked with Twitter before Elon Musk bought it. And they silenced anybody who wanted to know about the Biden crime family syndicate. And they reversed that. And they went after the guy who was innocent. The guy who actually wanted to serve you and me. Doesn't it make your head spin every now and again? Don't you just sometimes wonder, how the hell did we get here? Well, we got here because of the media, because of the Democratic Party, right? Because of the rhino Republicans who are part of the deep state, all who don't do anything, are qualified to do nothing, have no usable skills, except they have to win elections. This is why they hate John Fetterman. Because John Fetterman sees in Donald Trump a guy who's willing to put it out there. He sees Knives Out for 10 freaking years for one guy, and they can't stick the landing on any of it. And John Fetterman's like, I understand how this president feels. It's intriguing to be the victim of the ire of the swamp. But it's also oddly freeing when you know there is no dirt. There are no backstories. There are no emails. There's nothing scandalous. Just one man's desire to do what he could to save America. And millions of people like you who believed him. And this is why they hate us. Hate away, I say. Hate away. All bogus, all a lie, all fictitious, all known, and you knew it from the beginning, just like I did. When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program, how about Knives Out for this Ken Martin guy, the DNC head, right? They're like, no, this guy is a bad money manager. What? A Democrat who's bad with money? Shut up. Next. Like, I don't even have to go into the details. This article is like literally 30 pages long. It goes on and on and on. Oh, yeah. And remember so-and-so and such and such. Yeah, they had to work together in order to do this. Remember so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. They were over here. And I was like, of course. It was all bogus. It was all BS. There were no calls between Vlad and Don. They weren't like, he was like, hey, Vlad, this is what I want to do. I want to do. Donald Trump doesn't trust Vladimir Putin, but he respects him. He respects him. All right. Morgan's Fitness, Kelly Morgan at Morgan's Fitness. When you work at Kelly Morgan at Morgan's Fitness. And I was out by her place this weekend. This is what you can do to your body before and after. Sometimes all you need is somebody to tell you how to do it. Somebody who's done it. Somebody who's lost a lot of weight and has transformed their body. Look at that guy. That's ridiculous. How about this? How about 100 pounds of fat? You want to see what 100 pounds of fat loss looks like? That is crazy. Morgainsfitness.com, MORGAINZ fitness.com. You want to learn how to lose weight from the comfort of your home? Well, that's it. That's where you go. Click on the button for 90 Ignite. You won't be disappointed. I guarantee you. Oh, yowzers. Was that a burp, a hiccup? What was that? It was a hiccup. Right.
Those are the ones that hurt.
Hiccups that hurt?
Yeah.
Oh.
You in your chest.
Yeah. Ken Martin. Brock did a solid. Brock took one for the team today. He listened to 20 minutes of John LaFavreau or whatever his name is. Favreau, whatever. Some liberal guy.
I highly recommend you don't.
Talking to Ken Martin, head of the DNC. And it's just like.
They talk. This is what I said to you this morning with Democrats. They keep talking in nonsense, so you can't push. No one has time to push back to actually say, what do you mean by that?
Or they just say something and you're like, I don't even know what you just said.
Yeah, I'm dumber now.
Wait until you hear Burgess Owens talk to Pete Buttigieg during, this is 2023, while Spirit Airlines is trying to merge with JetBlue and want to work together, right? Wait until you hear, and Burgess Owens is like, so how is this helping competition if you're preventing a merger? How is this helping consumer choice when you're preventing a company that then filed for bankruptcy twice after you wouldn't let them merge? How does that help customers? I don't see it.
This is the same idiot, though, this past weekend said, maybe we should let the person who wins the popular vote be the president.
Well, that would be President
idiot.
Trump.
That'd be President Trump.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I don't know what you're getting
And
at.
people were cheering. I'm like, this just goes to show you how dumb you people are. How dumb Democrats.
Didn't Joe Biden, they pull him out from the shadows, wheel him out on his gurney,
I wonder if he'll get the cancer treatment.
on his dolly, right? I bet you he has it already. He's dead. He was dead 5 years ago, probably. It's terrible. Conspiracy theorist. You know, if they can lie that Donald Trump is a Russian asset, if they can lie and say that Donald Trump raped or sexually assaulted, I think the number now is 29 women, right? And he's not been convicted. If they can lie and say that he has shady business deals, but the paper trail shows he paid his bills in time, in full, and nobody was upset about anything that he's done, what do you have? Can you imagine choosing the squeaky clean guy to go after? Somebody's got to have something on him. And that's how you got Thomas Crooks. That's how you got there. Because they tried everything else. Oh, he slept in a hotel that Barry and Michelle were in, right? Mike, Big Mike. And he wanted to sleep on their bed, and he had hookers urinate on him. Totally sounds like Donald Trump to me, right? You might as well tell me he's doing cocaine in the White House, right? I'm sorry, that was Hunter and Kamala. I want you to hear this, though. I want to tell you about Ken Martin. So you've got this guy that they're trying to destroy in President Trump, and you've got the Democrats who are like, dang it, we have nobody. We have nobody who can take this guy on. Nobody. Let's get a new head of the Democratic National Committee, and we'll brainstorm. This guy will be great. His name is Ken Martin. He's an absolute moron. Insiders at the DNC have reportedly been looking to oust Ken Martin as chair, believing he failed to help the party recover from the 2024 election. Shoot, we're still trying to recover from them stealing 2020 from Trump. Please. We have to be honest about what's been going on. If we've known about a cure for cancer since 1951, you cannot still think that 2020 was real, right? That the decrepit guy who barely came out of his basement, who when he did couldn't even speak cogently and needed the Easter bunny to keep him from walking into the hedges, for God's sakes, you want me to believe that dude got 81 million freaking votes? More than Barack Hussein Obama? Please. I want you to hear Ken Martin. He's on the Pod Save America. This is some left-wing podcast, right? And the guy who's in charge of the podcast, he's like, look, you guys had this after action report where you studied all the breakdowns. What happened that gave us Kamala Harris? What happened that had her blow $1.4 billion? Like, what happened so that last year you took out a $15 million loan, Ken, to pay some bills and get some ads on the air? This isn't sounding like it's a great program for the Democrats. I want you to hear this give and go.
People are obsessed about this in a way that continues to turn them away from wanting to focus on the lessons and instead thinking that there's some sort of smoking gun in here that's going to give them the one single reason that Kamala Harris lost the election, or the one single thing that we should have done differently that's going to actually help us win in the future. There is no one single thing that cost Kamala the election. There is no one single thing that we can do to help us win the upcoming election. There's a number of lessons for sure that will help us win in 26 and beyond.
You know, I'm no political operative here. I'm not some mastermind of campaigns, but I'm thinking that what you've got to have is a candidate who tells the truth. You have to have somebody who's authentic, somebody who's real, somebody whose BS we can see through, somebody who cares about America. You don't have to say you're MAGA, but you need to care about this country. Under Ken Martin's leadership, did you guys know the DNC has spent well more money than it's raised, while the RNC retains a roughly 7-1 money advantage? With Ken Martin taking out a $15 million loan last October for elections in Virginia and New Jersey. And they're like, well, they were successful. How's it working for you, Virginia? You liking what's going on there? How's Mikey Sherrill over in New Jersey? That's going well for you guys there too? Insiders say he may take a similar loan this summer or else lay off staff. Now, wait a minute. Anybody who's like, it's a nail biter coming up on the midterms. This is going to be like a down to the wire finish. Get out the cameras, folks. It's going to be too close to call. Are you kidding me? What are you talking about? We got a president who wants peace, who wants energy independence, who wants closed borders, who wants dangerous thugs who want to hurt our people and kill us, rounded up and sent far, far away. And what do you have in the DNC? What redeemable thing do you have? What, Kamala Harris? She's trending more than anybody else. She sucked the first time. What makes you think she's going to be good a second time? Has she all of a sudden gone to literacy school? Is she able to handle a debate? Does she have a thought of her own? Does she write a book? Has she sat down for an interview? Are you kidding me? And it's a very glorious thing. I feel bad for them. Actually, no, I don't. Think about what they've done to you. Think about what they still would do to you. And then think about how important what's coming up in November is. They cannot, in any way, under any circumstances, ever be trusted with power again, period. Period. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we got to talk about Spirit Airlines. Spirit Airlines and JetBlue, they tried to merge in 2023, and the Democrats stopped them, sued, went to court to stop it, and now what happens? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. We think it's going to interrupt competition. It's going to be tough for people to get low-cost carriers. Well, now it's closed. So
you guys will all be dumber when
job.
you hear the Pete Buttigieg song.
It's really frustrating. And I don't think Burgess Owens is like he's not an orating mastermind, right? He's not this like wizard of words. But he's exactly right in his response. He's like, wait. What did you just say? He's like, tell me how you can say no to two airlines who are struggling and want to get together and be stronger together to take on the top four. So that would be 5 real airlines, real competition. Well, we don't want to take one away because that's reducing competition. And it's like, no. It's fortifying 2 into 1 so they can better take on those 4. And Pete's like, no, that's taking away 1. It's like him chest feeding. Make it make sense. It's like Ketanji Brown Jackson defining what a woman is. Make it make sense. I don't get it. I do know that GLP-1 Gold. A lot of people are talking. There's some folks now coming out with videos on their weight loss using the weight loss drugs and some of the side effects. I've seen a couple of these videos where they're like, I should have been more patient, or I should have done more due diligence in finding out any of the side effects with these shots, because I don't want to be stuck injecting something into my body every week so that I don't eat as much. And the whole thing that GLP-1, that's the hormone that is affected by these shots. And it's basically to stop you from eating, right? So getting a weight loss shot tells your body you don't want to eat anymore. And for a lot of people, it's made them nauseous. So they throw up. They have terrible aversions to food. They're not enjoying the flavor of it anymore. Hey, if you're losing a lot of weight and that's good, okay. This is a great alternative. This is slow, steady, significant weight loss naturally. And this is from our friends at bloodflow7.com/Wendy. If you go to that landing page, you're going to find this. It's $1 a day, maybe $1.50, something like that, versus whatever you pay for the shot. And it's every day. It's a dietary supplement meant to tell your body, hey, you've eaten enough. Don't eat so much. It's gradual, it's natural, it helps so much, and so many people are losing meaningful weight. This is not your weekend weight loss thing. This is for people who are serious about hardcore weight loss. Okay? GLP-1 Gold, again, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. These are the people I trust. And I do. I trust them. GLP-1 Gold / or no. bloodflow7.com/Wendy, but it's called GLP-1 Gold.
Trump speaking with Fox Trade Yingst threatens that Iran will be blown off the face of the earth if the Islamic Republic attacks U.S. ships guiding vessels through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, if you want to be a mercenary who wants to start a total war, hit one of our ships, and it'll be good night. Good night. So he has all of that heavy hardware around him too. They're all ready to go. Hey man, he parked a whole flotilla of ships right off of the front step of Venezuela, and Nicolas Maduro didn't catch the picture, right? Trump has been very clear. He's been very clear. He told everybody what he's going to do. He just doesn't tell them the timeline. I think it's great.
Iran has been given only 24 hours after the world may witness one of the most devastating airstrikes ever seen. Donald Trump.
All right, let's see if you guys got me to 2 yet. 205, 4,900 watching. Thank you. Hi. How's everybody? Do JetBlue and Spirit Airlines even fly to the same places? I don't know that. I've not been on Spirit. I've heard from people who say it's a nightmare, and I've heard from people who say it's fantastic. And it's a nightmare when they cancel your flight. Oh, there's just not enough people, so we're going to cancel. And you're like, okay, well, I've got to be at the wedding tomorrow. So this is extraordinarily inconvenient. But for people who are super flex and can deal with, it worked out for a lot of people. I know a lot of people who flew Spirit Airlines. This is one of those stories. What are you sending me?
Stuff that's going to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? And Brock just sent me something regarding Mike Davis at the Article 3 project. And he's on with Benny Johnson. And he's like, look, this whole grand conspiracy probe by the DOJ, the potential to bring down the top names, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't believe anybody will be held accountable, usually. But we can hope. Yeah, Democrats are really bad for business. It's freezing. Are you guys freezing? I'm freezing. Let me see if I can not hog tie myself. program. I'm going to say something. It is not controversial at all. And it goes like this. Man, Democrats are really, really bad for business. I mean, have you guys been following the Spirit Airlines JetBlue debacle? And I will be very honest with you. I really didn't pay much attention back in 2023 when Merrick Garland and the DOJ literally went to court to prevent this merger of two airlines that were like, look, we've got four major players in the market. We could be together as a strong fifth, but Spirit was like, look, we need to partner with somebody. And JetBlue was like, yeah, we'll do that with you. Until then the United States government under the Democratic Party came in and wet blanketed that deal. And now today we have 17,000 Spirit Airlines employees who do not have jobs because Spirit went belly up over the weekend. Right? Good job, Democrats. Look at your local post office. If you ever think that the Democrats or government in general should be in the business of running a business, look at your local post office. If it's anything like mine, it looks like you're in a third world country. The gals are behind bulletproof glass. The outside of the building is falling apart like it's been bombed, right? And there's quite literally asbestos fuzzing out of the roof on top. If you look up, you can just, right? And I'm like, that must be run by the federal government. Bing, 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 bing. We're like 90 billion over budget, right? We've got, it's all a crap show. That's exactly what they did to this deal. And I want to give you the backstory. So Spirit Airlines hangs up its wings over the weekend as common sense Americans see another casualty of poor Democrat business sense and meddling. It's for the greater good. So here's the backstory. In 2023, the U.S. Department of Justice, alongside several states and the District of Columbia, sued to block a $3.8 billion JetBlue Spirit Airlines merger. And they invoked something called Section 7 of the Clayton Act. You're like, what's Section 7? What's the Clayton Act? Well, the government argued at the time that by acquiring by acquiring Spirit, JetBlue would eliminate its most aggressive ultra low-cost competitor, which would lead to higher ticket prices and fewer travel options for cost-conscious passengers. So what was the deal with Spirit? Everything kind of a la carte, right? You have a very low-cost airfare. And then if you want to choose your own seat or pick a seat, well, that's going to cost you. You have a bag. That's going to cost you. You want to bring a carry-on. That's going to cost you. You want anything on, but that's going to cost you. Everything is a la carte, very bare bones if you just have to get from here to there. And then what would also happen is oftentimes some of the flights would get canceled and people would be stranded. But if you were flexible and you use that service, well, the Biden administration under Pete Buttigieg and Merrick Garland said, well, if we allow this merger, JetBlue's probably going to jack up all of the prices, and then people will be disenfranchised because they won't be able to fly a low-cost carrier. So the DOJ sued, judge comes back, blows it up, not allowed to merge, and now, after filing for bankruptcy twice, the Spirit was saying, hey, we need help. We're struggling. And if we do this, if we piggyback with JetBlue, we're going to save this airline. We're going to save these jobs. And we're going to save all of these routes that maybe a lot of other people don't travel. Well, in January 2024, a federal judge in Massachusetts agreed with the DOJ, with Merrick Garland's DOJ, ruling that the proposed acquisition of Spirit by JetBlue violated this Clayton Act. And there's some prohibition in there against transactions that may substantially lessen competition, right? So the court concluded that by eliminating Spirit, an airline known for its low-cost model, that consumers who rely on the budget pricing would be hurt. Okay, so how do you like us now? Now they're going to really be hurt because the business folded. Right? They also ruled the merger would significantly increase concentration on many overlapping routes, that apparently JetBlue and Spirit traveled a lot of the same routes. And so therefore that was going to be a disservice to the traveling public. What? Unlike previous airline mergers, though, where the government often settled for partial deals, this was a landmark instance where the DOJ stepped forward, successfully used Section 7, and blocked a transaction entirely to preserve market competition. Maria Bartiromo over at Fox Business. She's beside herself over the weekend. She's got Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on this. She's like, what? What did the Biden administration do to ruin this merger? Like, what happened? Why did Pete Buttigieg, as then the Secretary of Transportation, and then Senator Warren block this merger? Listen to this.
And Secretary, let me get your take on what took place in terms of Spirit Airlines, because I know that the Democrats did not want Spirit to merge with JetBlue a year ago, and now we see that Spirit Airlines closed operations. The Treasury was supposed to be doing a deal to save this company. Can you tell us what happened?
Sure, Maria. So this is just more of the mess we inherited from the Biden administration. In September 2022, Elizabeth Warren, who loves to write letters, sent a letter to the Justice Department, to the Transport Department, saying that they should oppose the merger with Spirit Airlines. JetBlue wanted to buy them for $3.8 billion. It would have given them much more resiliency. And she and the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was probably the worst transportation secretary in history when he came to the office. They were against the merger, and if JetBlue had merged with Spirit, we would have all these jobs that were lost yesterday. We had 30 regional airports who have lost service. And I can tell you what happened here. It wasn't Treasury, it was Commerce that was trying to put something together. But the reason we were here was because the Biden administration opposed the merger. We shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Shouldn't have been here in the first place. Pete Buttigieg's replacement, Sean Duffy, said but Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg bragged about stopping this deal, which now has 17,000 workers out of a job and hundreds of thousands of customers stranded.
Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg, along with the Biden DOJ, decided that they did not want that merger to take place. And at the time, the Biden and Buttigieg DOJ bragged and said, as they canceled the option for this merger, that this was a victory for U.S. travelers who deserve lower prices and better choices. Now, many at the time said this was a disaster. This merger should have been allowed. And this today would indicate this is not better for travelers. This is not better for pricing. This is not better for competition. Actually, it's worse. We had an airline go down because the markets were trying to allow two airlines to merge, make them stronger, and offer more competition for the American consumer.
And Democrats screwed that up. Democrats screwed that up. And now 17,000 people don't have a job. I want you to hear Merrick Garland. This was back, a flashback to 2023, when he proudly announced the DOJ antitrust lawsuit to stop the merger. Listen.
Today, the Department of Justice filed a civil antitrust lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts to stop the merger of JetBlue and Spirit Airlines. We are joined in that lawsuit by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the State of New York, and the District of Columbia. I'm here with Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta and Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General Doha Mekki. Our complaint alleges that JetBlue's proposed $3.8 billion acquisition of Spirit violates Section 7 of the Clayton Act. We allege that if allowed to proceed, this merger will limit choices and drive up ticket prices for passengers across the country. And we further allege that the impact of this merger will be particularly harmful for travelers who rely on what are known as ultra-low-cost carriers in order to fly. Those include working and middle-class Americans who travel for personal as opposed to business reasons and who must pay their own way. By acquiring Spirit, JetBlue will eliminate the largest ultra-low-cost carrier in the United States.
Oh, you just did that. You jackass. I wonder how much money Merrick Garland or Elizabeth Warren or any of these clowns have in what? American or Delta or Southwest, maybe United. I want you to hear this. This is Burgess Owens when he was in the House. I don't think he is anymore. Is he still there? I don't think so. But he's questioning Pete Buttigieg. They're having this meeting in the House, and this is Pete trying to explain to the congressman, you say you blocked this merger because it prevented Spirit Airlines. You're worried about it restricting competition. Can you explain that to me? I want you to hear Pete Buttigieg not have the mental wherewithal to be able to explain something that is inexplicable. They're trying to float this guy out as possible presidential material in 2028. Listen.
My constituents and American people stand for the benefit of free market competition. More flights and more options means lower prices and better service. Mr. Secretary, I am increasingly concerned by your department's actions that result in protecting 80% of market share among the 4 U.S. carriers. Do you believe that maintaining the status quo is a result of your opposition to the JetBlue-Spirit merger?
Well, if we want competition, then we have to have fidelity to our watchdog role when it comes to mergers. After all, by definition, a merger means that there will be fewer competitors than there were before the merger. I could not concur with the description of this as a novel regulatory.
Yes. Can I just ask a quick question? You're saying that we have 4 major carriers that represent 80% of the traffic, and adding another one would stop competition?
By definition, a merger doesn't add a company, it removes it.
By definition, a merger also gives the other 4 a competition that they don't have presently of 80%.
So our role is to make sure that there is more competition, not less, and we will only act to prevent a merger if there is a determination that a merger would harm competition.
Okay, so let me ask, so in other words, we have 4 major airlines representing 80% of the traffic, and you're saying another competition would be what? Would not be competition? I'm trying to understand the math, because
think of it in terms of
add another carrier, national carrier.
You're taking
more competition to the 4 that right now.
My point is taking 2 airlines and turning them into 1 could mean less competition.
We're talking about the smaller. How can they compete with the policies you're now looking at? How will you allow them to compete in this market in which 4 right now control it?
Well, part of what we're doing to support them is steps like this that police the trend toward consolidation, so that we don't end up with, by the end of this, we could be down to Coke and Pepsi. If all of the airlines merge, you could wind up with just 2. It's hard to picture that being a positive outcome for competition.
Oh my gosh. You are now officially dumber. That was our Secretary of Transportation. That's the guy who's growing a beard, wants to look like a lumberjack and convince you he's presidential. Just like Joe Biden won with 81 million votes and Kamala's literate. Got it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Democrats obviously bad for business. Jesse Waters with a masterclass beatdown of basically Jessica Tarlov. It's delicious. Next. What did he say? All he was saying is like 1 and 1, it makes 1. And so we lost 1. And so that's less competition. And Burgess Owens is like, okay, no, you've got 1 that's going to fall off, but wants to merge so we can stay strong and be competitor to the other 4. And he's like, no, see, no, 2 into 1, that's a loss of 1. And you're like, it's like arguing with your sister's children, right? Aggravating sons of bitches. I mean, literally, it's where you are. You're like, what are you talking about? What does that even mean? 17,000 jobs.
I apologize. I brought that clip to her attention. I heard it and was like,
that's
what?
The kind of
This
verbal spaghetti that you got
woman.
When they try to tell you stuff that you know is not real. And they're like, no, it's real, really real. Real, really, for real. And you're like, makes no sense. Do you know that makes no sense? You clearly aren't schooled enough to understand what we're talking about.
I mean, it's like the gerrymandering.
Yeah.
I can gerrymander
so wait a minute. Yeah.
for black people
Right.
to vote
And that's
But
not
that's
racist.
not racist.
But if I do it to benefit white people,
It's racist. Yeah.
And you're like,
No, like
that saying that is racist.
if you're doing something to disenfranchise someone else.
I want to tell you about the Healthy Fat, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Turns out the key to losing weight and keeping it off isn't about starving yourself, eating celery, walking 40 miles a day or what have you. The end game of having a healthy weight, as well as more energy and a long, healthy life, comes down to a specific switch that you can flip inside of your body to flush out unnecessary calories. Who knew, right? I don't need to be storing. Pete Buttigieg looks like a chipmunk. He would have nuts that he's storing for the winter. I equate me holding on to calories that I don't want as like holding on to nuts. Like, get rid of them. And Dr. Gundry's like, look, you drink this drink, flips that switch, out go those calories, and then you are prompted and your body starts losing weight. And he's like, look, I drink it. He drinks it. He knows thousands of people who have had it, who have lost 20, 40, 80 pounds. Dr. Gundry lost 70 himself. He lost basically what Brock lost a couple years ago by drinking this. And this is a very sad moment. So I'm going to have to get more at home. But I have it because I bought 3. This is the best stuff. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Fantastic dietary supplement that crushes your appetite for like 4 to 5 hours. Just when you need it most. Just when you're like, God, I could go for some Cheez-Its. Or 7 pounds of pistachios. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. It's delish. Hi. What's going on? What are people talking about? What can we ask you guys? Like, honestly, of all the things that you heard, do you really think that the Democrats are going to take back power at all? I don't. I don't think that we have to think about that in that way, but I don't see how it's possible. You have no money. All of your grifts are being unraveled. All of this stuff about Russia collusion, that's being exposed. The COVID shit's coming out, right? You've got the UFO stuff. We know that there's cures out there for disease that we haven't been able to have access to for whatever reason. It's all coming out. And the grand conspiracy, I don't know. Do you ever see Barack Obama get hauled off to prison? I don't know. You should. You should. No one is above the law, remember? No one is above the law.
By the way, Jolene brought me Dots, like Chex Mix.
Oh, is that pretty delicious?
I don't know. I haven't had it yet.
This Jesse Waters is great. You guys are going to love it. He had a great episode on The Five on Friday, and he's literally excoriating that chick, Jessica Tarlov, who's just toxic. But I want to read you just a couple paragraphs from this New York Post editorial on Spirit Airlines' demise. And the title says, Spirit Airlines' death is entirely on the Biden administration, and specifically on faux populism. Saturday's Spirit Airlines shutdown is entirely on the Biden administration, and more specifically on the faux populism of its Federal Trade Commission chief, Lena Khan. On top of all the travelers left scrambling, 17,000 American jobs lost, with future travelers, right? They'll have one less choice, and the rest of the industry facing reduced competition. It's Spirit's bare bones approach wasn't for everybody, right? And perhaps the business was always doomed, but there was no need for its end to be this cruel. Khan and then Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg cheered as the Biden Justice Department blocked JetBlue bid to buy Spirit in 2024, arguing that the industry consolidation would be bad for consumers. Democrats eager to shift the blame point to how the Iran war sent fuel prices surging, but that at most explains the timing of Spirit's death. It's been struggling for years, including 2 bankruptcies. The sale would have at a minimum been smoother for consumers and employees. Democrats think they know better. Democrats don't. They are bad for business. Jesse Waters kicks the tires on that car, and he says, look, tell me exactly what do Democrats do that isn't a scam to profit them? Listen.
Michael Steele, black man, doesn't care that the group sent $1 million to the neo-Nazis? They paid the Grand Wizard. He doesn't care. They also don't care that the group committed bank fraud, wire fraud, and defrauded all their donors. Don't care. As long as they smeared Republicans. Doesn't matter. The ends justify the means. I'm beginning to think the entire Democratic Party is a whole scam. What is it really about? Stealing money, flooding the country with illegals, and calling us racists. That's it. Every time you look under the hood, all you find are scams. COVID. Wait a second. Fauci funded the lab where the virus came from? Whoa! Somali daycare, $19 billion. Wait a second. There's no children in the daycare center. What happened to USAID? None of the money left D.C. It all went to Democrats there. Everything. Russia, Hunter, whatever happened to the Green New Deal? It was about $1 trillion, right? Where are the windmills?
The green.
Where are the solar panels? Where'd they go? I haven't seen anything. They haven't even built the little charging stations for the EVs. Where did it go?
Where did it go? Apparently not to the DNC when Ken Martin is looking to take out a loan. What? And then Jesse continues. He's like, look, and Ilhan Omar is the left's poster child for fraud. Listen.
How about Omar? Omar, the other day, was worth $100,000. Next month, she was worth $30 million. Then she went back down to $100,000. How does that happen? They put Donald Trump on trial because of a bookkeeping thing. And she just gets away with inflating and deflating her net worth. Maybe she's hiding the money. Maybe there was never any money. Here's the point. You can't pay racists and then raise money off racism. And it all started 10 years ago in 2014 when they started incubating the nation with racism. You saw it all over television, all over the newspapers. Race, race. Remember the syrup? Remember the songs? We used to do stories on the 5 all day long. And it crushed the heart and soul of the country. Everyone was afraid. People were getting canceled. You couldn't say what you wanted to say. And then what did it turn out to be? A big, fat psyop. And it turns out we all love each other. And they don't want us to love each other. But we do anyway. We love you.
Isn't that amazing? Jessica Tarlov looks like she could spit fire out of her eyeballs. But you know what? The Biden administration was really good about one thing, making up fake job numbers. Do you guys remember that? They're bad for business, you guys. Under the Biden administration, the Bureau of Labor Statistics real data revised downward after they would come out and pad the numbers and make it sound like everybody and his brother's working. This economy is buzzing. And you and I are like, what? 2.6 million jobs they faked in 4 years, you guys. 2.4 million jobs. That's all you need to know when we come back. Hour number 3 about those seashells in the sand. Yeah, it's more than that, James Comey. You're going down, dude. Next. Yeah, 2022. They had to revise downward the jobs. 568,000. How are you off that much? How about in 2023? 306,000. 2024, 818,000. 2025, 911,000. It's 2.6 million, not 2.4. 2.6 million fewer jobs were actually created during Joe Biden's 4 years in office than they came out with the ticker tape parade and the this just in, another great jobs report. And then they're like, oh, snap. Actually, we made it up. Hurry, go change that. Like Cassidy Hutchinson. I love that they're going after Cassidy Hutchinson. Love it. All right, I have to go to the bathroom. Can I go?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be right back.
Let's be real. Good luck finding a business owner that's liberal. Because what are liberals okay with? Paying taxes, paying more in taxes. Find a business owner that's okay with all the taxes they have to pay. Show me one. I know quite a few business owners. Not one of them happy about paying taxes. Not one. My friends that own businesses would love to give it back to their employees. I have one friend that said, I'm not saying I'd keep the money, but I could give all my employees raises, which means I don't have to worry about turnover. I already pay them pretty well. And if I could give them 20% of their payback, I'd do it in a heartbeat. So finding a liberal business owner, it's just the two things don't work together. And going back to the cancer story, I put it on the chat. That was a last minute thing, so it won't be on the locals rundown. So I put it in the chat. So
is that the cancer one?
Yeah. And let me say this is I'll say you can cure cancer because my cat had cancer.
Dr. Mike cured it.
And now it doesn't.
Right.
And that was Dr. Mike saying, let me try some things. Blah, 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 blah. He's telling me about it. Like, I don't understand it.
But you know what? The same way as scientists getting off with NASA and all that, you got to be careful when you know how things work because a lot of people out there don't want others to know about that.
And even with Dr. Mike, he's like, well, I don't know if we cured it. I said, well, it ain't there anymore. So I don't know. Like, if anything, you prolong the cat's life. Isn't that what we're all looking for? Like, okay, you tell me I have cancer, but I don't have to change my lifestyle. Okay. Yeah.
Where's yours? Let me see yours. How much do you have over there?
I have a lot.
All right.
Jolene was eyeing mine up at my house.
So tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. You know, when my mom was alive, I would always send her flowers. It was an easy thing to do, but I love flowers too. And it was something that we shared. And so I would buy her orchids or what have you. They were lovely. If my mom were still here, I would be so geeked to go to tulipblooms.shop/Wendy and to put together my box of favorite things for my mom. And one of them would be this massaging oil. Now, this is the most amazing skin nourisher I've ever used. I just put it on my shoulders earlier and my hands. You put this on, rub it in, give it about 5 minutes to absorb. There's no greasy residue, but your skin is glowing and beautiful and so soft. So soft. There are body butters and all sorts of various products. There are things for the bath. They have what are they called? Bath beads, bath bombs, whatever those are. I don't take baths, but all sorts of those. There's candles, there's essential oils, and they're just magnificent. I started using this stuff in August of last year. And when I ran out in January and called the owner of the company, and I'm like, I think we need to talk. I need more of your product. That's when I knew I wanted to share it with you. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Check them out. It's magnificent stuff, healing, beautiful. It is decadence for your skin, okay? And the more you buy, the better the discount. Always 10%, but if you add more ingredients, more of the items to your box for Mother's Day, you'll get a greater discount. You're welcome. I'm just going to say it's fantastic. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. I love it. Look, the clock is ticking. What? That dudes like it too?
Yeah.
They do.
Use it on your feet.
It is special.
Period.
It is special. I will say that.
The feet.
I ran out of my healthy self focus and recall. I'm struggling. Like I miss it. So I've got to get off my duff. I have it at home. I forgot to bring it. Healthycell.com/Wendy. I'll talk to you a little bit more about it. Focus and get the REM sleep. If you sleep crummy, get the REM sleep, microgel, and sleep finally. You're welcome. Focus and recall. Oh, it's brilliant. Healthycell.com/Wendy. This is such a great company. Delighted that they're part of our family. Real Solutions. Oh.
It's a Fauci.
Wow. I paid him late. I'm surprised he gave it to you.
What?
Sorry, Kelly. It's true, though.
Gets paid? Be nice.
That's terrible.
Must be nice.
Mm-hmm.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
The vaccine prevents you from getting infected.
Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
If you get vaccinated, you are protected.
Dr. Fauci says he has COVID again for the second time in 2 weeks.
The Department of Justice has dished out a shocking indictment accusing a former senior advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci for allegedly concealing records amid probes into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Moving government conversations related to the COVID-19 pandemic to his private Gmail account to avoid public disclosure, plus skirt the Freedom of Information Act from those seeking answers about gain-of-function research.
Sit on this for a second enough to absorb what this means.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. I've got a little Kristen Welker talking to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. I'm going to play for you in just a second. But listening to that open and listening to the lies of science and Fauci, I want to talk for a minute. I mean, think about how Democrats, what they've destroyed. They've destroyed education, right? They destroyed our border. They destroyed our economy. They destroyed our trust in science. They destroyed professors and everything that they teach. They destroyed our faith in basic institutions and in each other. And here you got this one guy who's trying to fix it all, and everybody with the knives out because they need the gravy train grifts to continue. Look, this whole grand conspiracy thing that's going on, this is a way bigger deal. A way bigger deal than the Democratic Party is reporting and letting you to believe. And the whole gist of this idea is there was something that was hatched in the Oval Office shortly before President Trump took power in 2017. And it created a snowball. And one lie grew into another lie, grew into a complete downward ball of filth and lies and abject untruths. And now, in order to cover for their own deceit, Democrats are desperate for any storyline, whatever it is, where they can point fingers somewhere else and be like, oh, it's not us, it's over there. Don't pay attention to us. That's why I want you to pay attention to this. Do you guys believe in any place that's real, that the Department of Justice would go after somebody for an Instagram post of seashells in the sand? No. I believe that for the last year almost, the Department of Justice has been gathering all of the data that the FBI found in the burn bags that we heard about, that secret compartment that they stumbled upon in the documents and the thumb drives and the other processes that were supposed to be destroyed that weren't, that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino found. They're piecing together all of this stuff, and I believe they're about to drop it, and the guy who's going to drop is going to be James Comey. And so I want to read you this. Todd Blanche schools NBC's Kristen Welker with a basic legal lesson after she questions the prosecution of James Comey. I want you to think about a chick who's sitting nowhere near the investigation, who knows nothing, who has none of the details, none of the inside baseball, anything, who believes she knows better than the acting Attorney General of the United States of America, what the evidence is and what's going on. And he just sits there. Blanche does. And he's like, do you really think that we would indict James Comey again for an Instagram post of 8647 in seashells that he allegedly stumbled upon on a beach time stroll with his wife? Oh, Kristen, you ignorant. Boop. Let's hear how this goes. I think the give and go is integral. Let me tell you this. First of all, an arrest warrant was issued for former FBI Director James Comey after he was indicted by the grand jury in the Eastern District of North Carolina related to his Trump assassination post on Instagram. Well, first, before we get to Welker, I want you to hear this. Tom Tillis, Rhino Senator with Jake Tapper, right? And Jake Tapper is playing a clip of Donald Trump in the Oval Office saying, look, everybody knows what 86 means. It means kill. It means get rid of. Like it's old mob. We all know this. And then Jake Tapper asks Senator Tom Tillis, who hates President Trump, do you really think Comey was trying to say to somebody, go kill the president? Listen to this ridiculous response.
The mobster says to one of his wonderful associates, 86 him. That means kill him.
Do you think posting 8647 is a crime?
No, again, if this prosecution, which is coming from the Eastern District of North Carolina, if this whole case is based on a picture in the sand of a North Carolina beach, it again makes no sense to me. Number one, I used to work in the restaurant industry, and I think 86 actually has its roots as a cook.
That's my understanding too. Yeah.
It has its roots in 86ing the menu or 86ing the product. I can't find any evidence except some that's come up after the president made the comment about the movies. I know the penal code in North Carolina, 187, means murder, but I can't find any evidence where 86 is used as a call for violence. And again, if it's more than just the picture, it reminds me of the 2 minutes of testimony against Powell. It better be more than just the picture. There have to be facts and circumstances beyond that to convince me. And Comey is the biggest disappointment of my Senate career. I actually stood up for this man in my first term in the Senate because I thought he was being attacked unfairly. I found out later that he was a political hack and he was motivated by a political agenda. That alone, though, would not allow me to support what I think on its face is some sort of a vindictive prosecution. Republicans are better than that.
Tom, with an H, I'm just going to say this to you, sir. Do you really think the Department of Justice's entire case against the former FBI director is an Instagram post? Wouldn't that be pretty stupid? It would be pretty stupid. And why would you ever support somebody without doing your homework? There were obviously people who were trying to sink his nomination. Did you think about asking them why, Senator? Or did you just feel, I thought he was being treated unfairly, and then I find out he's a jerk? Tom, I'm glad you're retiring, you jerk yourself. I want you to hear Kristen Welker on with Todd Blanche. And she's like, how does that image of 8647, how does that amount to a serious threat against the president's life? Well, let's find out.
Well, part of what the government would have to prove is intent. James Comey deleted the post the same day, and he wrote, quote, I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. How do you prove intent, Mr. Blanche, when Mr. Comey himself said he didn't understand that some people would look at that and think about violence?
You prove intent like you always prove intent. You prove intent with witnesses. You prove intent with documents, with materials. So again, this is not just about a single Instagram post. This is about a body of evidence that the grand jury collected over the series of about 11 months. That evidence was presented to the grand jury. And it's not the government, it's not the Department of Justice, it's not Todd Blanche that returned an indictment against James Comey. It's a grand jury, part of the judicial process, and that this process has to be allowed to play out in the courts. It's not fair to Mr. Comey. It's certainly not fair to the prosecutors for us to be airing your view or my view of this indictment. It's something that will be presented in court at the time set by the judge.
So they're trying to say to you, what a flimsy case. What a shame. What an embarrassment. We thought Pam Bondi was a moron. Look at this goofball. He's going to make a full case out of some stupid Instagram post of seashells that James Comey himself was like, what? That means kill? I didn't know that. It was just so weird. And then I deleted it because I just didn't want people to be upset. Well, Kristen Welker decides to ask another question, and Todd Blanche absolutely has her number. She says she thinks she knows more than the acting attorney general, and scoffs at the idea that seashells in the sand would be even remotely criminal. Let's listen.
Conservative legal scholar Jonathan Turley said, quote, this indictment is facially unconstitutional, absent some unknown new facts. Are you in fact saying that there are facts beyond this Instagram post that clearly establish an intent to threaten the president's life?
I've said repeatedly that this was an investigation that lasted 11 months. If the only facts that existed was the posting of the Instagram, obviously that wouldn't have taken 11 months. And so when Mr. Turley talks about whether it's facially unconstitutional, absent unknown facts or circumstances, we will necessarily have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt at trial every element of this crime, which we're prepared to do.
We will absolutely have to go in and prove every single element of this crime in front of a jury beyond a reasonable doubt. And we're prepared to do that. Now, do you really think that the seashells had really anything to do with anything? Or is that the springboard reason to re-indict the former FBI director and then drop on everybody what clearly is top secret private grand jury information that would be the beginning of the unwinding of this grand conspiracy? And the grand conspiracy is President Obama with Joe Biden and Clapper and Comey and Brennan and Schiff and Swalwell and all of their other minions creating a story about President Trump that never was correct. And the grand conspiracy has all of their fingerprints on it. That is what James Comey should be worried about. And that exactly is what he is. It couldn't just be about the picture of seashells, could it? No, actually not, Kristen. But thank you for being a master of the obvious. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you know what? It's been a while since you've heard of Adam Schiff. I know it's not much of a sales point. I'm sorry, but he's squawking about this now, which means they're super scared. Next. Eric Swalwell, where'd you go? Who are you cutting a deal with? Who's he wheeling and dealing with, do you think? Do you think he's with Nicolas Maduro? Are they both talking to the same people? Because you know Maduro could give you grand conspiracy details about election interference because whistleblowers have said that there is information that Maduro and basically Venezuelan money has made its way into Congress, where there are people who do the bidding of Nicolas Maduro in Congress. I'd like to know all those names. What'd you just send me? I want to tell you guys about Health Revolution. Health Revolution. I have actually a phone call with my friend, Tom Yakupin, and his associate, Tim, who are co-owners of Health Revolution, which is just a basic, brilliant idea. You know, if you have insurance, it's too expensive, and you've gotten coverage for things that you don't need protection for, and you wish you could kind of create your own plan, keep your doctor, not have copays, and have a seriously reduced deductible, and you're like, yeah, good luck with that. Well, info.healthrevolution.net. 800-868-6187. 800-868-6187. Info.healthrevolution.net. It's important. If you're on COBRA, if you are unemployed, if you are self-employed rather, if you have a terrible Affordable Care Act plan and you're tired of it, you want to save some money. If you are under the age of 65, that's a big one. Get in touch with them. Save 30 to 60%, right? No copays. Keep your doctor. No weird open enrollment time where you got to get all your ducks in a row. Just somebody on the other end of the line who wants to know what you need and how they can get it for you at the greatest cost and with the most service. When was the last time you felt like that? I haven't in a long time. info.healthrevolution.net. 800-868-6187. I look very forward to hearing from them because they say they've very much enjoyed interacting with you guys. Those of you who've called and emailed, that they've been really enjoying your friendship. So thank you. Oh God. Wow. Why do you send me stuff to make me angry?
I do it on purpose.
I know you do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Comey's an attorney. Maybe they'll flip him. They're all out to save their own keisters.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost 2:30 and we're only 2:37.
I have such disdain for
non-rumblers.
Adam Schiff.
Oh.
His dreamscape of the call with Zelensky, it was so off-putting. Oh. You know, if we were to have a competition, king of the scumbags, it'd be a tough one. That'd be a race to the bottom. I think Adam Schiff would be somewhere as a finalist. I don't remember the last time I listened to this guy now who's failed upwards to be a senator. I don't know when he's ever said anything that's been believable. When he said anything that was purposeful, meaningful, beneficial, helpful, forward-thinking, innovative, shockingly good for the American people. Never. I hear this guy being the contrarian. He's been the voice against Donald Trump. He was the guy as House Intelligence Committee chair from 2019 to 2023 who claimed more than circumstantial evidence of Trump and Russia ties, leading to Mueller and Senate probes that found no criminal conspiracy. Why ever was that? It was all predicated on some goofball named Gavin Wild who made up a fake intelligence community assessment suggesting Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin were somehow in bed together to steal the 2016 election. Really? Really? Adam Schiff was the guy who did that. He was the guy who did the dreamscape. Remember him? Dreamscaping the phone call with Zelensky. Yeah, Shay, I'm going to tell you what I want, Shay, and you've got to come through. And you're like, what are you doing? This isn't funny. What you're alleging isn't humorous. We don't need your theatric interpretation, you feckless jerk. Well, when they dust off Adam Schiff and they bring him out to be the attack dog that Eric Swalwell was, but he's too much of a dummy to be able to continue it, well, you know they're scared. They are scared about seashells in the sand. They are scared about this just being the beginning of a grand conspiracy basic overhaul. Here's Adam Schiff talking about this indictment of James Comey. See if you can hear him poo-poo it, and then see if you can hear how scared he is of it going through.
Look, the only facts that distinguish this case from those people buying things on Amazon or posting things on Amazon is not any particular facts that are not visible to the public. It's the fact that James Comey is a political opponent of the president's. It's the fact the president has called upon him for prosecution. It's the fact that Todd Blanche wants to keep this job. It's the fact that Pam Bondi didn't successfully bring a case against one of the president's enemies. All of that is deeply illegitimate. I was a prosecutor for almost 6 years. I never saw such a weak case. And I think, Kristen, in the future, in the Department of Justice, if anyone ever suggests bringing a case this weak, there'll be a new name for it. They'll be called Seashells cases. Are you telling me we should bring another Seashells case? I think this case is likely to be thrown out even before it goes to a jury. It will absolutely be thrown out by the jury. But the fact that we're spending time on a Seashells case and the top leadership of the Justice Department is so focused on it means they're not focused on violent crime cases. They're not focused on rape cases and child trafficking. They're focused, no, on James Comey and Seashells. And it's the American public that suffers.
What is that again about grand jury testimony, Brock? What is it about that it's
private?
Oh, it's secret. That's right. That's the word I was thinking about. And here's Adam Schiff trying to tell you that he knows what it's all about. But he knows what's coming. It's just ridiculous. Listen to them try to poo-poo, belittle, tone down, make sound absurd, create allegations, pointing fingers elsewhere. Don't look at what we did. No, it's not about us. Don't look at us stealing the 2020 election. You look at those insurrectionists. Look at what they're doing. That's a threat to democracy. I can't believe it, right? That is how these stories start and where they go. So it's not about Seashells there, Adam. And you know damn well it's not, because you were the conduit. You were the conduit from the Oval Office and the news. You were the guy who ran to the media to leak all sorts of salacious information from insiders who wanted to remain anonymous, people close to the investigation, those with knowledge of all the play, but who worry about, this president's vindictive retribution, all this stuff. Adam, see, the thing about these sorts of interviews is you have to believe the news source in advance at all, right, to pay attention. And then you have to trust the person who's speaking. But why would you? Why would you? I haven't seen Adam Schiff do anything good for this country. He's run interference the whole time. He was the lead House manager in Donald Trump's 2019 Ukraine impeachment, which we know was based on lies. What more do you need to know? They are just pissed that they've tried everything, every play in the book, every Hail Mary, every huddle. What do we do next? I don't know. Bring out that old bag, E. Jean Carroll. She'll stall for us for a couple months. Ew. Meantime, Donald Trump wants to make America great again. Gosh, I hate that. It's so disappointing, isn't it? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you guys, Congress misses the deadline to release 46 UFO unclassified files, if you will. So what does that mean? Let's hear from Congressman Tim Burchett, because this is getting real fast next.
I just sent you something.
Your girlfriend looks very pretty today. The Simkovich Concussion Institute, you guys. Simkovich Concussion Institute. Watch my kids play soccer on Saturday. And my son, Bobby, is he plays in the front. So he's an attacker. He's a what do we call him?
Scorer?
Pretty much. Allegedly. He didn't, but that's what he does. So he goes for a lot of balls, goes for a lot of like jumping up, and he's very tall. So I watched him on 3 occasions almost bunk heads with people. And every time you watch them go up, I know I'm like, but I've got the best guy on speed dial, and it's Dr. Charles Simkovich. And I don't say that lightly. I've seen what he's done. I know how he's helped. I know what he does, and it's life-changing. 412-366-3700. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. Don't fiddle around with this. He fixes people without surgery, without blood, without scalpels or needles, with ease. And they do it in an intense way, like not intense in terms of hurt, but their protocol is come in 3 or 4 days in a row. We're going to work with you several hours every single day. and we're going to fix you. And by the time you're done, you're done. You're done. You might want to come up back for a tune-up, but you're done. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. 412-366-3700. I love him. And he's so dear. He's so dear. Many months ago, I ordered the joint health and mobility formula from Healthy Cell. I felt like I got some relief. I was tired of hurting. And so I started to do some research about what I should be doing to keeping my 63-year-old joints healthy. So I discovered all of the supplements they recommended I be taking were actually in the joint formula, every single one of them. So I got serious about never missing a day of squeezing that gel pack into my mouth. A few weeks later, I realized how much better I felt. So much better. I realized that by not being consistent with my dosage, I wasn't reaping the full benefits of the nutrients. This is from Suzanne. She says, I now have it on auto ship, so I don't have to worry about running out. I've added the heart and vascular health to my subscription as well. I might not physically feel differently taking the heart formulation, but if it works anything like the joint formula, I know my heart and veins are being treated every day to things that help them work better. Thank you very much. You've introduced me to so many products over the years. I swear by to this day. Too many to mention. healthycell.com/Wendy. Thank you for that, Suzanne. She's fantastic. So just like the whole UFO thing, oh, that's not real. Like literally, we were having a conversation in our car the other night talking about cancer. And I'm like, I guarantee you there's a cure for cancer. And my physician husband was like, I guarantee you not. And I'm like, okay. I have no faith left in medicine. I think it's all a ripoff. Isn't that terrible? That's terrible. They do that to you. They do that to you. And it makes me angry.
A lot of things making you angry.
Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Look, I don't know which is better. They're both on the same site. Both you don't have to pay for shipping, which is brilliant. Look at this. Sniper on the left. Hospital grade, antibacterial, antimicrobial, disinfectant, fabulous. Kills all odors, kills germs, kills MRSA, parvovirus, SARS, COVID, blah, 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 everything. Fungal infections like athlete's foot. And then there's this, organic insect control. Nothing is safer, nothing works better. You could spray something on stuff and not ruin your plants. Yeah. Yeah. This is... Hey, if you have a mom who's big into gardening or has vegetables or loves her flowers, Harmony. It's non-deadly. It's so innovative in how it kills bugs. Kills them from the inside out, I think. Oh, it's amazing. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com. It is freezing again. So I'm going to do what my grandma used to do. She used to also stick a tissue up her sleeve, which I thought was disgusting, but she did. There we go. How's it going, Sonny? Brock looks very serious.
No, it didn't.
Uh-oh. It didn't do what?
A piece of sound again. I don't understand why.
I blame you.
Okay.
That's how I roll.
I'll take it.
I want to talk to you guys when we come back in our next break. I want to talk about the collagen. You guys have been killing it with the collagen. I'm super geeked about that because I'm digging it too. Digging it. You guys ready to sing? I am. Let's get to 2.5, guys. Because it's kind of sad if we don't. 70 people to go to get to 2.5. Ideally, I'd love 2.7, but beggars can't be choosers. I mean, ideally, I want 4, but... Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You people. Goody, you heard that. I love it. Program, the president is being asked about this new batch of UFO files. President Trump says the Pentagon is preparing to release some very interesting UFO files uncovered by his administration, generating a mix of buzz and skepticism as he hints at new revelations around questions of alien life. He started stoking interest in extraterrestrial stuff back in February when he directed federal agencies to release their records related to extraterrestrial life and UFOs. I mean, just think about that. We want to know who killed JFK, who killed MLK, who killed RFK. He's like, release the files. We want to know what 9/11 was really about. Release the files. We want to know about Jeffrey Epstein. He's like, I don't know what. Okay, release the files. And now, UFO files. He says, yes, the American people have a right to know. See, this is what I love about this guy versus what Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden wasn't a part of it. He was in his freaking hyperbaric chamber, right? Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren going after this merger of Spirit Airlines and JetBlue. They meddle to make things suck for you. They meddle so that you get sick. They meddle so you go broke. They meddle so you lose control of your children. They meddle so they can rule the world. And it sounds totally stupid. And you're listening to me going, she's crazy. But you know that I'm not, because that's what they do. And then when it's time for oversight, they're like, I don't know where that went. What are you talking about? It was a coding error. Oh, it was a glitch. We had some kind of a computer malfunction. I don't know what that was. You mean I was supposed to save all of the videos of the interviews? I don't know. Really? And then there's this president. In 2 seconds, they were like, I heard him on a phone call with Zelensky. It sounds like collusion. And he was like, here's the transcript. Let everybody see it. You decide. Right? Which do you prefer? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, but still, there are some people out there who don't understand what's going on. So let's talk about this. There is a bureaucrat, there's something, the same group of people, the same kind of idea that have sat on the cure for cancer or research that strongly suggests that we know that tumors respond to anti-parasitic medications because we've watched them and we've known this for years and years and years, but you're not allowed to get it. Who's preventing you from knowing that? Is it the same kind of group that's preventing our president and we the people from knowing exactly what we know about alien life and about their machines and their humanity, about their aliens? What is it? Well, Tim Burchett said something very interesting over the weekend, and he said it a couple times. That the president is on a need-to-know basis, according to these, I don't know, aerospace folks or whatever they're a part of, and that they're the ones who are like, no, we're really not going to share all. It's top secret. There's no more top secret than the president of the United States. I want you to hear this. Here's Tim Burchett with George Santos. George Santos has his own podcast called Doing Time. Right? He got booted for things that other people did, and they managed to keep their jobs. And this is what Tim Burchett says. He's like, look, George, it's not just spaceships. We have proof of alien life. What? Listen.
We have sworn testimony that there are recovered alien bodies. That is sworn testimony under oath not a secure setting, and nobody batted an eye, nobody laughed. And, you know, there's just kind of a gasp in the room that finally somebody said that. And it's come from so many different sources that we really need to get to the bottom of it. We've had testimony, I don't know testimony, we've been briefed before that, you know, of locations of where some of this stuff is. A member of Congress, a close friend of mine, you know, and I've read these books, how somebody will approach you and stuff. And we were in the tunnel, and just so happened there's no coincidences. And this guy said to me, he said, Tim, he said, why do you want to do this? Don't you know this is going to disrupt everything?
This is going to disrupt everything. Is that like how cancer cures would disrupt being sick? Yeah, it would. And a lot of people would lose a lot of money, but you'd be better off. Who gets to play God with your freaking life? Who gets to play God with all of these details? I want you to hear this. Here's Dan Aykroyd, actor Dan Aykroyd. He's literally talking to Fox Morning Show about 4 different alien encounters he's had. What?
So on Friday, the House is going to receive a classified UFO briefing. You said you've seen 4 of them. Tell us more about it.
Well, the most spectacular one that I saw was about 50 feet away from me and on the 23rd floor of a hotel in Montreal. There were no lights at all. It was just a big gray object. It looked like the Macy's Day Parade balloon. And of course, there was no balloon there in Montreal in February when I saw it. And my friend and I were sitting there, and she looked up and said, "What's that?" We looked out the window, and there was this big gray object, 100 feet long, 50 feet high, with it looked like a bunch of grapes underneath it, you know, and it just sat there, and we got a good look at it for about maybe a minute and a half, and then it kind of turned slowly, no sound, and it just drifted off. We ran out into the hall and saw it drift over the St. Lawrence River. Now, that thing was not a helicopter, was not a meteoric bolide, was not any kind of aircraft. It was right there, present right in front of us. Whether it was occupied or not, who's operating it, I don't know. I can't say that, but I know what I saw, and I know I had a witness with me, and I know that was a very vivid sight.
Think about the cone of silence. People didn't want to talk about this stuff. First of all, the military, they had to sign disclosures. You're not going to talk about this, or you're going to be dishonorably discharged. We're going to call you a Looney Tune. Think about the cone of silence. You don't want to tell people what you know because you don't want to be called a whack job. And yet everybody knew that it was going on. It's like COVID. Everybody knew what was going on. It's like Joe Biden's cognitive decline. Everybody freaking knew what was going on. Open borders. Everybody knew. This, however, was demonized to such a degree that you would be such a nutcase. Tim Burchett is on with Matt Gaetz on his podcast, and he's like, look, this NASA researcher, Matthew Sullivan, guy in his late 30s, military guy, who all of a sudden overdoses accidentally on not like opioids or drugs like that, but he overdoses right before he's supposed to talk to Congress. Is that weird to you, Congressman? Listen to this.
Matthew James Sullivan was set to testify on Capitol Hill before he died, allegedly of an overdose. And an accidental overdose for some guy, middle-aged man about ready to testify before Capitol Hill. Are you buying that at all?
Not at all, Matt. I think that just goes further and further in this direction of mistrust. I think there's one other that has a similar situation. Back when you were on the Hill, we had somebody that was supposed to testify and died under a mysterious type circumstance. But this one, to me, I think it sends a chilling effect out there to the world that there is dark forces that are working around this, and people are trying to shut this thing down.
And we don't even know what this thing is. Is it about reverse engineering, some kind of propulsion technology that would render irrelevant the way we use vehicles today, the way we transport ourselves, the way we travel in airplanes? Would it completely destroy our dependence on oil or fossil fuels? Would it change how we heat or cool our homes? What could it possibly mean? Could it erase poverty? Yeah, all of that stuff. A lot of people would lose a lot of money. Kind of like if there was a cure for cancer, it would be really kind of a bummer for those who've gotten rich for so many years. I want you to hear this. Dr. Stephen Greer is a UFO researcher. We had him on last week, or at least played sound of him. Rob Finnerty over at Newsmax is talking to him and also to Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson. And Finnerty says to Dr. Greer, there are multiple downed spacecraft, like big spacecraft, one in Eastern Asia and one in Oklahoma. Is that right? Listen.
Dr. Greer, you have said publicly that this is outside Seoul, South Korea. Is that accurate?
One of them. Now, remember, I have debriefed almost 800 whistleblowers who've had direct involvement with this. One of them was with the Pentagon for about 8 years as a very senior investigator and had baseline clearance across 18 Black Project, unacknowledged special access projects. He specifically knew of the one in the mountains outside Seoul, South Korea. It was so huge, they had to build a structure around it. And he was read into this in between 2002 and 2010.
Okay.
So it had been there for some time. Now, I also know there are others that have been brought down in other locations. And if they're over a certain size, they're very, very hard to move. Imagine if they're bigger than a football field. And you're not going to put that on a semi. So it becomes logistically impossible to move it. And then in the United States, we know where there are some others, such as near Fort Sill, Oklahoma. There's a smaller one. They built a SCIF, a facility around that one. We have its location. So I know that the congressman can speak, to what he's limited, but because I'm a private citizen, I can discuss these.
Because I'm a private citizen, I can tell you stuff that's going to make your face melt off. Why hasn't anybody talked about this stuff? And finally, Sean Spicer has Congressman Tim Burchett on, and he's like, are we ever going to get the truth? He's like, Trump is a skeptic. He just needs to know the right questions to ask. Very interesting conversation. Listen.
Revelation in the last couple of weeks about what the government knows about UFOs. What should we as citizens know?
We should be asking the question, what are we spending tens of millions of dollars on if they don't exist? Why in the world do we have people within departments telling us what they do exist and then somebody else says they don't? And why should some punk and a man with a man bun tell the members of Congress that the president's on a need-to-know basis? I think we should know all the answers to all those. It's not about little green men. It's not about flying saucers. That government. It's about the truth. It's about transparency.
Okay, and when and how could we? I mean, is this pressuring the right people, subpoenaing the right people, forcing?
Well, I think President Trump just needs to know the right questions to ask because they're not obviously going to be honest with him, and I think that's because I think he's a skeptic, and that's fine. Some of the members of Congress that are the biggest UFO people now were people that I brought in that were incredible skeptics, but when they went in the skip with me, when they were briefed, and they've seen the footage and talked to the pilots, then they have since changed their mind.
So if they're willing to show you this kind of information, at some point, doesn't it seem like it's going to come out? Or there's enough issue. You guys have the power of the purse. I mean, isn't there some?
Yeah, but we don't have the guts to do it. Everybody, come on, Sean, you know that.
Do you think that we would be, as citizens, we'd be worried about what the government knows?
I think we should be worried that the government's keeping it from us. I think the technology I've seen, I don't see any worry about it because if they want to do something, whatever they are, they would have already done it.
So what do you fear more, the unknown from outer space or your own government? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, for the real reason our government hasn't told us about these unidentified aerial phenomenon, which are absolutely verifiable, we got to hear from an investigative reporter who says some jaw-dropping stuff next. All right, you got to get Native Path. This is it. My collagen peptides, this is what I get. This is what I drink. 1 scoop, 10 grams every day. 56 servings in this bag. Greatly reduced cost, thanks to my friends at Native Path. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. This is like up to 45% off, I think, right now. This is what it looks like in the canister form. And I'm just going to say taking collagen peptides to me is important. All right. This is everything to do with skin. It has everything to do with cartilage, has everything to do with your muscles, your hair, your skin, your nails, your gut, your focus, all of it. Collagen is part of this. I think it's one of those things that we start losing very early on in life. And I think that's why we fall apart so fast. It would be smart for us to drink this or get this in our system faster than we do. I started drinking it right before I turned 55 or 56. So I'm super late. But getnativepath.com/Wendy. The collagen peptides. If you walk up the stairs and you hear that creaking in your knee, that they call crepitus, I have it and it drives me crazy. Really good for cartilage, really good for ligaments, really good for bone health. There's nothing that collagen is not good for in your body. Pennies a day to take it. Colorless, it is flavorless, and it sprinkles onto anything. I put it in with my Dr. Gundry and I drink it every single day. Couldn't taste it if I tried. And it's cheap and it's effective, and you should try it too. Getnativepath.com/Wendy. I'm so excited that they were happy to come back for another month's campaign. That's huge to me because I called them. I'm like, I'm taking your stuff. I'm going to do this. I'm totally down with this. And they're like, okay, up to 45% off. Thank you. Do you hear my chair, Brock?
No.
Do you guys hear it? I hear it. It's driving me nutty. So what if they're holding secret from us this whole program of aliens, spacecraft, and all this stuff, and that they're going to kind of like insider trade on the technology that is going to be gleaned from looking at their spacecraft or what have you? This is totally run-of-the-mill conversation, man. I don't find anything unusual or alarming about this whatsoever.
You know what? If they've been insider trading on everything else,
who doesn't want this all to be public?
You know what? I'm okay with it if we get things like these med beds that they talk about, energy that's free.
That's what I'm saying. What if
trade all you want on it, because I'm going to get a big bonus in my check.
What about
I don't have to pay for that stuff.
What about the people who are the keepers of the information? Because if that Daily Mail article is true, and it looks like it is, that we've known since 1951 that there is a phenomenal effect among like cancer tumors with anti-parasitic treatments like ivermectin.
Guillotine.
Who would keep that? Somebody who'd want to make a lot of money making pharmaceuticals off of stuff that you don't need. Right?
Hey, they wanted to keep the COVID stuff silent for 75 years.
Wow. That is such a phenomenal point. You're worth it every now and again.
Wow. That's hurtful.
Too soon. Oh, look, I'm getting a call. It's about my extended warranty.
Yeah.
How about a no? I love you guys, by the way. Little time for stories such as aliens and spacecraft, and there's biological material, and there's some program that would somehow crossbreed humans and aliens, and you're like, what you talking about, Willis? And now all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I can see it. I can totally see it. 100%, right? Well, investigative journalist and co-host of the Weaponized podcast, Jeremy Corbell says to Peter Doocy, this is on Fox. I mean, they're making this way mainstream, and I'm glad they are. These 4 dozen videos that the government was supposed to release, the Pentagon was supposed to release sometime last week and did not. Should they be made available to the people? Here you go.
The American public is ready for this. Now, what it's going to tell us, what the end result is going to be, it's another data set of footage the American public can look at. But here is what I know for fact, Peter. There are machines, there are craft of unknown origin that fly with impunity in our restricted airspace, and our government has been assessing this as a national threat for decades. The jig is up. People now know UAP are real. But what are UAP? Who are flying these machines? Who made these machines that can outpace, outmaneuver, and outperform our greatest war fighters? That's the question.
That was a little more detailed than we've had. These aircraft can outpace, outmaneuver. They can detect when we're locked on them and Scooby out of the way, and poof, they're gone. Who is this? What is this? What's going on? And ought you not know? Remember the San Antonio airport, February, the FAA briefly shut it down over El Paso because of special security reasons? What do you want to bet? It's a bunch of this sort of stuff. He continues, Jeremy Corbell continues, and he tells Peter Doocy, this is interesting, look at this UAP flying over the Middle East 5 years ago. Peter Doocy has one of the videos that are supposed to be exposed to the American people. He says, look at this video. These crafts can do things that we can't do, and that's a little concerning. Listen.
We've got video that we can put up on the screen. One of the videos that your sources helped you guys get out of a government vault. It is a UAP over Syria in 2021, flying at an impossible speed, demonstrating instantaneous acceleration. This is the video. A lot of people will look at this and say, well, it could be China, it could be Russia, it could be somebody else. But when you see this and the other videos, some of the 45 other videos that you have seen, what do you think?
Yeah, look, we do not have the capability, unfortunately, for instantaneous motion. The idea of inertial effect and what would happen, this is baffling to the intelligence community. What George and I put out, it is their analysis that this is demonstrating, this craft, which is not aerodynamic. When you look at this video, it instantaneously shoots off to the right once the Reaper drone got a weapons grade lock on it. So its ability to maneuver is far beyond anything that China, Russia, or the US has. Look, this is a known secret on the inside. It's an open secret that UAP are real and that they're able to evade sometimes detection, but absolutely our weaponry. And it's an issue because they are oftentimes loitering over sensitive, critical infrastructure within the United States. This is not me saying this. This has been admitted by our own administration and government. I think we're closer than ever. The intent is to bring the truth forward to the American public. We are closer than ever, and it's just got to be done now.
Isn't that amazing? This is what we are talking about on May 4th of 2026. Not that just that we know that there is spacecraft and alien life out there, but that we've tracked it, that it evades us, that craft as big as a football field, faster than our everything. Are you nuts? No, we just want the truth. Apparently, this is the administration, ladies and gentlemen, that plans to give it to us. We'll keep following it. Stay alert. Thank you guys so much for being a part of our Wendy Bell radio program today. I hope you come back tomorrow. Remember our podcast, almost 8 million podcast downloads strong. Join us. See you tomorrow. Peace.